we should be about good to go. Stream should be up. Okay, so welcome to what is the Australian International Online Reach Mahjong Championship Qualifier. For those who don't know me and haven't read the thing, I am Osbol. I'll be commentating for this. I am still getting a couple things set up, so give me a few minutes. I'm not actually in the right 10-hole lobby, it looks like, so I should fix that first. Oops, not that one. God damn it. Okay, we are in. I still need to do the draw, which I will do shortly. Where I've got it. I should probably actually add that as a thing so people can see. Browser. Cancel. God damn it. Apologies. It's not really what I wanted. Actually, no, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay. Why is it American and Australian stream? Ha! Anyway, so we have the random thing up. That should be all well and good. Looks like Totoro's currently in the process of getting everyone sorted out. Okay, I am about ready to do the random draws. Basically, everyone's going to be randomly assigned a number between 1 and 16, which will then set up the matchups for everyone. So just using random.org for this, everyone can see it's a 1 to 16 number. We hit get sequence. We get a sequence. That is our sequence. So just grab that and put it in the player number. Okay, and done. Draw is done. So all the pairings are now defined and ready. So the format of this is, the rule set is the International Online Reach Mahjong Championships, which is Akanashi, so no red fives, and there was one other rule set that I was going to make. Basically, it's a 10-hole, but without red fives, and with a... Apologies, I had this written down, and it's not there. Oh yeah, there's no busting. So if someone goes below 1,000 points, below 0 points, they are still going to they'll still be in the game. The game will not end until the end of South 4. Other than that, it's pretty standard tournament rules. So we have an UMA of, I don't know the UMA's. Oh yeah, the UMA is 35, 5, negative 15, negative 25. I think it's the 15, 5. Wait, what? I'm going to have to check this Totoro because this is not seeing the... apologies. I also don't have anyone else with me, so I am commenting this solo. Looks like a few people are not quite happy with the their draws, but oh well, such is the luck of the draw. Sorry, 20... So basic Tenho rules, but no busting, no red fives. I'm still trying to get confirmation on the UMA, since that seems to be a bit odd. Apparently it is a standard 2010 UMA with an OKA, so that'll be basically the players will start with 25, but to be considered positive they need to have a score of 30,000 or higher. The 5,000 point deficit from each player is then added to the first place bonus as a bonus for winning. I am going to take a quick second to spam out the, for one, take that out of the way, and for two, spam the link to this stream. If I can find it. The scoreboard that you see on the right side of the screen is the live scoreboard. It will be updated as the spreadsheet of results is updated. So yeah, if that seems to break or go weird, please let me know. Just trying to see if we can get a few more people in on this. Streaming. And someone's already. Thank you, JCakes, for throwing in the link to one of the more populous Mahjong servers. This is valid. All the boards should be off. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty standard set of rules. We have a number of players. So the team from last year, I remember. So Australia actually won the team tournament of the IORMC last year. So we're hoping to potentially do that again this year. I believe the team last year was. Actually, I want to get that confirmed. Where are we? Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of everything at once, and it's a bit of a fun time. This is also a bit of a new experience for me streaming, particularly solo. So please forgive any issues and let me know if there's any particular things. Cheese. So the team last year was made up of Cheese, SBT, Nosti, and Five. All of who are in the team, all of who are in this tournament. So you will, if the stars align, we may have the same team as last year. Actually, I'll have that there. So I'm just also sorting out my own screen so I can see what I'm doing a bit. Okay, that'll have to do. Cool. If anyone has any particular preferences on matches they would like to watch, I'll be taking requests. I can't promise that I will watch the match you want, but first come, first serve. We have a few interesting people. Well, Totoro himself is not playing this year. I thought he was. Oh no, yes, he's under the name of Koala. So he is in there. So Koala, obviously one of, if not the highest Australian ranked player on Tenho. We have SBT, who was the winner of the the first Australian Reach Mahjong Open national tournament last year. We have Nosti, who has recently made it to Ho-Ho on Tenho. Cheese, who's consistently done well in a lot of these tournaments, and is generally a relatively well-known player around here. Cheeks Chan, or as a lot of people might know him, J-Cakes, is also participating. So, hopefully we will get a decent number of games out of this. It looks like the games are about to start. Koala. Ooh, we have a Koala Nosti matchup in the first round. Wonder if I can get this, get the matchups so people can see them for those who might not have. Of course, why does it always make it a full screen thing? God damn it. Okay. You can see the matchups. I don't know if that's too hard to see or not. Yeesh. Yeah, it's a bit hard. Well, hopefully that's at least partially visible. I think, unless anyone says anything, I will probably go in and watch the Koala vs Nosti match. But yeah, and then we'll sort of see how we go in terms of fuck, what was it? All right, thing. The matchups there, and just look for some of the interesting ones on the table and go from there. That's that. Don't need that. So yeah, we will obviously have the standard 5-minute delay on Tenho. So the games themselves will be starting in about 4 minutes. So we'll have 5 minutes here, and we'll probably watch Koala, Nosti, Ronald, and Rariel. I believe all but Rariel are from the Sydney group. Rariel is one of our Adelaide players. No, sorry, Rariel is Brisbane. Apologies for that. So this seems to be sort of a Sydney punch-up with a bit of Brisbane sticking their heads in. But yeah, so I believe the results of this is the top 4 will qualify, or will become the team for the Australian team. Sorry, will come the team for the team tournament for the International Online Reach Mahjong Championships in October, November. I think it's November actually. Yeah, the top 4, and as far as we can, it's the same rules as the IORMC. So yeah, we just have to wait for time to take over and hope that nothing breaks too badly. It seems like games have all started successfully at least. So we have players from Canberra, Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney. So all the major things. We don't have any Perth players in this tournament. Sydney, Australia. But no, for those who don't know the Australian scene very well, majority of the scene originally started in Sydney. However, Melbourne had a huge, explosive growth last year in 2019. So at this point in time, Melbourne is likely the biggest in terms of pure numbers. Sydney has been around for the longest, and a lot of the more well-known players such as Nosti, Totoro, and Muller are all based out of Sydney. However, we have some of our more up-and-coming players in J-Cakes, Cheese, Lao Sabao from the Melbourne group, and then there's a few others that stick around. Like we've got Akarin, Rariel from Brisbane, SBT's actually from Adelaide. So there's a decent mix of Australians throughout all this, whereas a few years back, the Australian scene was pretty much just Sydney. Oh boy. So yes, just to confirm for anyone who might be confused, this is definitely the International Online Reach Mahjong Championship rules. There seems to be some confusion at one point about this being JPMLA rules, which is not the case. But yeah, anyway, we shall see. The game should be starting shortly, and we can get right into it. For those who don't know, the Japanese M League has released its schedule, which will be starting on the 5th of October, and it will be broadcast live on Abema. Abema is no longer Abema TV, it is just Abema, because they had a name change. I don't know why. So if people want to watch some of the professional league stuff, that'll be on Japanese time. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays. And that goes through to about March. So this should be starting any minute now. And we will get to see some of the, hopefully, what'll be quite an interesting and spicy game. Here we go. So we have the first dealer in Nosti, who's starting with a decent number of honors and some Sozu. Overall hands, nothing really sticking out as overly interesting. We have the 9 So as a Dora, 2 Dora in Koala's hand, or Totoro's hand. So he's getting a decent start there with potential double Dora Ipeiko setup. We have Rariel, I'm pronouncing it right, yep, who is potential for Ikitsukan or straight through. Which gets him a little bit closer there. Ronald is also known as 5, so depending on which one you see, that's who it is. We have a quick call from Rariel, calling the Chun, giving him his Yaku early on. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for the Honitsu in the Sozu here, or if he just tries to win a quick 2,000 points. Nosti's hand hasn't really progressed all that much. He's gotten rid of all of his honors, but overall it's a bit of a mixed bag. Koala gets a little bit closer. He's now 2 Shanten. I think it's 2. Sorry, I'm a bit out of practice with some of the Shanten readings. Nosti starting to break his 9-8 mon for a triplet of 5 pins. Rariel has gone for the Honitsu route, putting him in, if I'm not mistaken, Ishanten. What else have we got? We've got Ronald is trying to figure out what he's doing with his pairs, I guess. Ends up throwing the Palmon, the 8-mon, sorry. Koala getting to Ishanten with at least 2 Dora. And Rariel cheating that 1 So for the potential Ikitsukan. However, it'd be interesting to see if he pushes for that, or if he'll just try and finish his hand as is. He might struggle a bit for a pair if he doesn't get the 7. Nosti's not having a great time with some of his things. He's making some progress, but his hand doesn't seem to be keeping up with the others. Now, Rariel has a choice here. He goes for the weight of a 7-9? No, 7-9 weight. However, we can see that he's only got 2 tiles left, 1 of each. However, both are in the wall, so... Well, 2 left in the wall, I should say. And he might get it from, like, if Totoro happens to pull... Oh, no, Totoro has gone for... I guess he's trying to just end up with Tenpai at the end of the hand. Because he doesn't, from what I can tell, he doesn't exactly have a Yaku here. There's one of the 7 So's gone, so the only thing left is one of the Dora for Ariel. Now, is Nosti going to throw the Dora here to preserve, or to attempt to get a hand? He does, and he'll deal in. So that'll be 3-9? No, 8k. So 8k off Nosti for Rariel, putting him Rariel in a commanding lead early on. We move over to East 2, where Ronald is now dealer with now 3 chun in his hand, the Red Dragons. The Dora is West, of which there's a couple out, but nothing really paired up. Nosti has at least a pair of the Green Dragons, the Hatsu, but not much else. He's got a few sets of pairs, 3 pairs. Koala seems to be making some progress, however. It's kind of hard to see where this hand will go for much value beyond about 1 or 2k. That'll reach, unless he pairs up the door and goes for a Pinfu, which is possible. Rariel has paired up the Dora. However, Ronald's doing a couple quick calls, going for what he hopes is a quick 1,000 points. Or 1,000, sorry, not 1,000, 1,500 points, but actually might be 2,000 with that Fu. However, he is still Ishan 10. And he needs to pair up one of the 7 or 8s because he needs that Chun for the Yaku. Will he Khan here? He will not. He might be saving it for later. Koala is getting closer. I believe he's now Ishan 10, if he can get that Dora. Or he might even wait on the Dora, depending on how he is feeling. We have a call here from Nosti. I'm potentially going for Toy or just a Hatsu here. We get the Khan out of Ronald, giving us 8 So as a new Dora, which is great for Nosti. Gives Nosti 2 things. Another Khan from Ronald, which gives him 3 Doras. Oh boy, this has just gone a little insane. So we have Nosti and Tenpai waiting on a Hatsu or a 8 So. Ronald is not yet in Tenpai, but he does have 3 Dora and a Yaku showing, so I'm guessing most of the people will be a bit cautious here. Koala decides to fold. There's very little reason for him to push a Dora there with his hand, I feel. Ronald's still struggling to hit Tenpai. However, Rariel got into a Chitoit's Tenpai without me looking at it, so apologies about that. He manages to steal all those points away that Nosti and Ronald were trying to get and extend his lead even further into East 3, where we now have Totoro as dealer with a pair of East in his hand, which is a nice start. We have a few pairs of winds, but only Totoro has his own wind. The Dora is the 5 Man, of which we can see 2 in Nosti's hand, so he'll probably want to try and get that. Totoro pulls another one, putting him to, I think it's 2 Shan 10. Yep. We get Tenpai for Ronald, waiting on a... What is he waiting on? One or a 5, I think. No, it's not right. Just the 1. 1 or 4. I mean, they're highlighted. You'd think I'd see that. Apologies, I am definitely a bit out of practice here. Okay, let's see. We have all the 1s are out, however, so it's only the 2 4s left in the wall for him. He now Tsumogiri reaches off of that in the face of Nosti's Dora pawn. Chances of either of the 1 So's coming out of Nosti or Rariel's hand, I think is pretty low at this point, so never mind. Nosti is dealt into Ronald's reach, I guess wanting to push those 3 Dora anyway. He gets 1 Ura Dora for 2,026. And we move into East 4. Rariel still having a decent lead, 18k points on Totoro, who's in 2nd place. We have the Dora of the 8 pin, of which we can see 2. Rariel goes for a quick open on the Hatsu, trying to get a quick win to extend his dealership, potentially going for Honitsu in the process as well. Yes, definitely. Which could potentially give him an easy Mangan well, not an easy mangan, but a mangan if he gets the chun yaku as well. But he is rushing ahead currently now to Ishan 10 already. The other hands we see Koala at Ishan. Now he's at Ishan 10 with a closed triplet of the white dragons. Also, I am going to be swapping a bit back and forth between the English and the Japanese names for some of the tiles, so apologies about that. Ronald seems to be going for a Pinfu hand here, or at least that's the only value that you can see. He's got the one door at least, potential for two-sided weight, but he still has to fill in that 1-2-4 block somehow, which is the 1-2 hanchan. Koala hits, excuse me, swaps for a slightly better Ishan 10. Rariel is still stuck at Ishan 10, which is a little frustrating for him, I'm sure. Nosti has the pair of easts, but not much else. Ronald calls. I guess Ronald is trying to force an Ikitsukan here, so a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 run. The MT deals, or he swap deals the 3-mon. Not quite sure what he's aiming to do there. I guess wanting to pair up somewhere else, but he's thrown away his. I'm not sure what Ronald's doing there. Nosti calls, probably aiming to have the Atozuke east as his Yaku. He's still waiting to get other easts, of which we have not seen yet, so they're probably still on the wall. Rariel is still stuck at Ishan 10, making no progress. Koala also hasn't made a lot of progress himself, swapping there an 8 for a 4 so. Ronald, I'm guessing, is folding at this point. Rariel has hit Tenpai finally, waiting on a 7 pin, which is also the Dora indicator. He picked up a second Dora, putting his hand, I believe, into the. Yeah, he's definitely into Mangan now with Honitsu Dora to Hatsu, sorry. Ronald is avoiding. It must be folding completely here. He has no chance of a Yaku. However, we have all the 7s out now, so Rariel will not be getting this unless Ronald deals in. However, he can swap here. I'm surprised he didn't. I guess he was worried that the 7 would have dealt into someone. But I guess as the last draw, you're more worried about dealing in than actually anything else. So we move into East 1-1. Rariel is still dealer. Rariel having a lot of Manzu, so we'll see what he does with those. Nosti has a closed triplet of the Chun, as well as 2 Dora, so he'll probably try and rush that hand quite quickly if he can. Potential for Toy Toy as well. Ronald calls a quick Hatsu, who's actually not far off Tenpai 2 Shanten, I think. Or is it Shanten? 2 Shanten. Whereas Koala is sitting in some awkward shapes in the couple double kanchan weights. Not a double kanchan weight, sorry. One double kanchan weight, but yeah. Makes some progress in getting the 4 instead of the 9. So now he does have 2 kanchan weights. And then we go into. Yeah, Nosti calls his. Yeah, Nosti's abandoned the Toy Toy option, has gone straight for finishing as quickly as possible. He's not keeping that, which Ronald does call. Again, I don't know. I have trouble understanding Ronald's play sometimes. He plays very differently to how I do so. He seems to be going for Hatsu only, maybe with a Dora if he can pair it up somehow. He hasn't conned that Hatsu he just picked up then, but he might be saving it for later. He does connect that Dora and gets the con, which actually gets him into Tenpai now if he throws the 5 so. So he is waiting on a 6 pin, of which there is still 2 in the wall. For a Hatsu, Oh, there it goes. Hatsu Dora H Dora 1 for 2k. No, 2-6, sorry. Taking some points off of Rariel finally and getting Ronald into second place ahead of Koala. Nosti still languishing down in last place at 11,000 points. But it is his dealership, so it is his turn to turn it. It is his chance to turn it around. He does start off with a Dora and what could end up being an Ikitsukan in Manzu. Picks up another Dora, so things looking up for him. Ronald's got a pair of Wests, which doesn't do much for him in itself, but it also has one of the Dora. Koala's hand is looking average, like some decent shapes, but also not much in the way of value beyond that, like potentially Riichi Pinfu. But it's a bit of a struggle to get value beyond that. Rariel is sitting at a similar position, though not quite as pretty shapes. He's got a couple hanchan weights to deal with. Nosti's hand is slowly progressing. He has managed to to line up at least one of the Dora. He still has to make it feel like he's 2 shanten at this point. Yeah, 2 shanten. He has decided to call, which means he's probably going to end up going for a Tanyao here. But that does make it a bit harder for him to use those 2 Dora. He'll need to make a block there somewhere. Or he can hope to pull a Dora and then be on a Champon weight on the Dora and the 3-mon. We have a reach from Ronald waiting on a Tunky, which Koala straight away deals into. So the reach Ipatsu Dora 1 for 5,200 points puts Ronald squarely into second place and Koala much closer to fourth. And he now has to worry more about Nosti overtaking him as well. So going into South 2 with Ronald as the dealer. Our Dora is the 3-pin, of which we can see 2, one in Koala, one in Rariel's hand. Koala's decent sort of starting point. He's got a few pairs, he's got a lot of inner tiles, so he's likely to potentially going for Tanyao there. Rariel in a similar position, but might be more after a Pinfu. We have a pon from Ronald, where he has opened up quickly for the Hatsu. Probably just going for a quick win here. Still Ishan 10 though. Koala manages to get an Ipeiko in his hand. Not quite Tenpai, but he has to decide what he's going to do about his pair at this point. It looks like he's settled on the 6-0 as his pair. He just needs either a 1-4 pin or a 5-8 man. He'll want the 4 pin rather than the 1 pin just to get Tanyao. Nosti's hand is looking okay, but again, he doesn't have much in the way of value. He's looking at a Pinfu, probably a Riichi Pinfu of some kind. Ronald gets a step closer, but again, he's rushing. He's got the 1,500 point hand. Not much else unless he forces his Honitsu and Manzu here, but it would be a bit forced at that point, I think. Following that, we have Nosti still trying to find his Tenpai. He is Ishan 10 at this point, so he can get there at any point. Not get there, he could get it at any point, but it depends where he gets. If he draws the 5 or the 8, he's stuck with a Kanchan weight or middle weight on the 5-mon, which would not be ideal for him. Ronald does hit Tenpai, waiting on a 9-pin or a 9-man. 2 of which the 9-mans are actually in the wall still, as is one of the 9 pins. Koala does get his ideal Tenpai here, waiting on a Riichi Pinfu Tanyao Ipeiko Dora for Mangan. He is waiting on a 5-8. However, 3 of the 8s are in Ronald's hand, who then also Tsumos his winner. Koala is not having a lot of luck with his reaches at the moment, most of them getting knocked out pretty quickly. Our next hand is South 2 again, South 2-1, with 7 so as the door, of which we only see one. Koala starts with a closed triplet of the West Wind in his hand, which, while nice, doesn't do much for him other than give him Fu and a completed block. However, the rest of his hand he could push for a Honitsu here and Manzu. Depends a bit on what he draws. In the other hands, we have Ronald with 2 triplets already of the 7 man and the 9 man. Pushing ever closer to Tenpai. He is now Ishan 10. Rariel having a bit of a hand there, probably wanting to pair up's not the word I'm looking for, basically wanting to get a triplet of that Haku at some point. He might get it from Koala depending on what things happen. Koala has managed to get a triplet of the 5 pins, so he is also getting a step closer to actually getting to Senpai. Ronald doesn't quite make progress here, but does keep the 5 man. Nosti has made Tenpai, reaching on a 369 weight. For a Reach Tanyao Pinfu for 3-9. Rariel hits Tenpai, waiting on a 1 or a 6 pin, so 2 people are waiting on the 6 pin now. I believe Double Ron is in place, so if someone does steal the 6 pin, then it will pay out to both of them. Ronald has to decide whether to break his hand. He does. Koala potentially folding here, not wanting to deal into Nossi specifically, particularly being so close to him at this point. Rariel breaks his Tenpai here, and then Nosti ends up sumoing, putting him into, I believe that's 4-2. So if he flips an aura, he does not, so it's only 5,200 or 1,326 for a sumo, but it does get him back into 3rd place. Now, chances of him getting to 2nd are a bit harder, particularly since we're in South 3, but he is a lot closer, and it does get him out of that 4th place penalty range. However, Koala is dealer and starts off with relatively strong hand with 2 dragon pairs and a large number of Manzu in his hand, as well as a Dora if he decides to use it. The Dora is the Forso. However, it's worth noting that 2 of the Chuns that Totoro needs, or Koala needs, are over in Nosti's hand as well, so it is possible that they'll both hold on to those quite jealously, and they might both get walled out as a result. Ronald's hand is progressing, though he'd probably want the North Wind there. Ronald has a Dora, so he might try and chip away at Rariel's lead a bit here and then try and overtake him in the last hand. Rariel looks to be going for a Tanyao or an All Simples hand. However, he has no Dora and very little other value, so a bit of risk. He could potentially get a Ipeiko there in the 5-6-7 so. But we just have to wait and see what he gets. Ronald not making much progress the last 2 draws. That 2 helps a little bit, but also not much. Totoro hits Tenpai, waiting on the Hatsu or Chun. 2 of the Hatsu are still on the wall. It is a Reach Dora 1, so it'd be, plus 1 dragon thing, so it'll be 3-9, it'd be 5-8. Or 7-7 actually, because they'll have a thing. Nosti deals straight into it, giving him, I believe, Mangang with the Ipatsu there. So 12,000 points puts Koala squarely back into 3rd place and in striking range of 5 and Rariel. Not so much Rariel, but definitely 5 or Ronald. He'll want to try and get a lot closer going into South 4. What have we got? We have the Dora of the 6 so. Koala has 1 of them, and a number of pairs at this point, so we'll see whether he goes for a Toy Toy here, or even a Chi Toy with that Dora. Ronald potentially pushing for a Tanyao hand. Rariel struggling a little bit, just tiles are a bit all over the place. He could try and force Honitsu, but it's a bit harsh with that. We'll have to see what he draws. It's not the best hand to have. It's not the hand you really want to be playing at the moment. But he is in 1st, so he doesn't have to worry as much about value. Nosti's hand, some position, doesn't have any value. He needs a Dora there, or a number of Manzu draws to try and get that Ikitsukan, or even a Honitsu out of it. Koala does get a second set of east, so he could potentially just open up with the east wind. However, he is sitting at 5 pairs, so he could potentially hit Tenpai for Chitoitsu. Rariel seems to be making some progress with his blocks, still stuck here and there. 3. He's got potential for Ipeiko in the 2, 3, 4 pins. Excuse me. So I'm going to make sure I've got my water here as well. Koala not having much luck in making progress since he did get to the Ishan 10 of Chitoi. And lucking out, or sorry, getting unlucky and having drawn all those chuns there. Rariel has pretty much made it to a Tanyao Ishan 10. Actually, yeah, it's an Ishan 10. Koala does open, looking to go for a toy, not for a toy, sorry, but an Atozuke east. So he has a 5, 6, 7 pin. But yeah, he needs to do something, or he needs that east to come out, of which, well, he has to wait for that east to come out now. The only problem here comes if the 2 soul comes out to his hand, he's kind of stuck. We have Rariel hitting Tenpai, waiting on a 3 pin for a Tanyao Ipeiko Dora 1. Totoro Kan's flipping up one of his easts, which he is not going to be happy about. The last east is still in the wall, so we'll see where that comes. The last 2 is also in the wall. It looks like, not that anyone else can see, but from our perspective, it's possible that the oh, there's the last east. Ronald does not discard it. I think the last 2 so might actually be the Uradora of the east. But we probably won't find that out at this point. Oh, Ronald does throw into it. Koala gets his points. Another 2k points, putting him just behind Ronald, only 800 points behind, but in a much better position than he was a few hands ago. He's still dealer with a very nice starting hand. I believe that's Ishan 10, Tushan 10? Tushan 10. Rariel, sorry, our Dora is the 3 pin. Rariel does not have any Dora, but he has some nice blocks here. He's actually only Ishan 10. However, the South poses the problem whether he wants to keep that or not. You assume he'd want to try and pawn that, but then he needs to make his pair somewhere else as well. Nosti's probably pushing for a Honitsu at this point, or even a Chinitsu. He really needs the points here. He can't afford to drop much further, and he needs to make up a gap. He wants to come in even close to 3rd. Ronald's hand, he's probably looking to try and just make a bit of gap between him and Koala, as well as get closer to Rariel again. However, he's got at least a Dora potential for Ikitsukan in his Pinza, and that gets that step closer there. We get a reach from Rariel, waiting on a 3-6 so for reach only. He does get it for an Ipatsu, so that'll be, I believe, 2-6, unless he flips an Ura. He does for 5,200 points from Ronald, sending Ronald into 3rd, and Rariel well into 1st. Koala starts with a nice starting hand in the fact that he can probably finish this quite with a few good calls. He has the, a bunch of pairs. He could easily get a Toy Honitsu out of this if he's really lucky. For the Dora 1 pin, Rariel's hand looking okay. He's about Tushan 10, I believe. Might be 3. Oh, quick call from Koala there, putting him a bit closer to his goal of finishing this quite quickly. Ronald's hand making progress. Not much in the way of value there. There's 1 Dora. He needs at least 3 Han to challenge Koala here. Koala gets another pair there, so he is 2 Shan 10 for a Toi Toi Nan Honitsu, which would give him a straight Mangan. It would not be enough to catch Rariel, though, but it would definitely cement him in second place and give him the points to carry over into the next round. Because this is a cumulative score, it'll be a case of all the points will count, so yeah. Totoro dropping the 1-man here, probably because 1 has come out already, wanting to try and increase his chances of getting a discard of drawing one of the remaining manzu. However, the Souths, 1 is in real hand, 1 is in the wall. The Easts, 1 is in the discards, 1 is in the wall. The 7s are held up in other people's hands. The 3-mans could come out somewhere. Nosti is making some progress with his hand. He's got a Dora. He's filled in that hanchan weight, which will be nice for him. He is Ishan. No, he is Tenpai. I can't count. Sorry, that's a Tuso there. So he is waiting on the closed 3. Totoro partially folding with the Easts, or at least shifting to just a straight Honitsu with a Haku, potentially a Nan as well. He passes on conning the Hatsu, which, to be fair, considering Nostia's reach, is probably a good idea. He takes a step closer. We'll see if people decide to fold here. It looks like Rariel is folding. He doesn't want to give away any points here. Koala pulls that 3. There's 1 3 left in the wall. Koala won't be discarding that. We're headed towards a drawn game. It is unlikely anyone except Nosti will be in Tenpai, I believe. Yep. And that is the end of the game, putting Rariel first, Koala second, Ronald or 5 third, and Nosti in a very painful last place. So that's the end of the first set of games. All the other games seem to have pretty much finished. I'll jump in. We might leave these. I think they're both nearly finished. The scores you start to see popping up on the scoreboard on the side as Totoro is putting them all in. And we can see a few scores here and there. Cheeks-chan seems to have not had a good time, but Veggies was even worse. Champio managed to get a first out of that. This is in South 3. We can see Champio's already well ahead with a bit of a fight between SBT and Cheeks-chan to get second and third. So we can kind of see how this one, not much seems to change between here and the end of the game. Take a look at the other one as well. Actually, no, it's the only one left now. Okay. The other one is obviously just about to finish as well. Okay. How are we going with this? We have... What have we got in this hand? This is South 3 with SBT as the dealer. We have a Tenpai for Cheeks or J-Cakes waiting on the 5-8. So for a Tanyao Dora 1, 2k points. Veggie is nearly at Tenpai for a Honitsu. Oh, he's conned here very bravely, giving J-Cake's potential another Dora if he wins off the 8. However, the 8s are almost all gone. He would have to get it from Champio, who now reaches, waiting on a 4-7 pin. Which we will see whether that makes progress. We get Veggie dodging, dealing in there, getting a Tenpai of his own. However, Champion gets an Ipatsumo. Sorry, not Ipatsu, there was a Chi in there. But still, Haniman to completely destroy the hopes and dreams of everyone else. So we now have Champion pretty much in first, as we are aware. SBT is in third. Cheeks-chan is in second, but not by much. And Veggie sort of languishing in last place. Just going to check the scores are updating okay. So we can see the scores on the site. We've had wins from 27QQ, who is, if I'm not mistaken, Akarin. We have Rariel, as we saw. We have Champion, get it in there as well. Lao Sabao seems to have won his game as well. So it seems like, most of the games, there was no real blowout wins. Most of the wins were roughly equal. And we just have to see how things go in the second game. We get a reach in this game from SBT, waiting on a 4-7 man for a reach Pinfudora 3-9. However, 1, 2, 3, 5. There are a few left in the wall, still 3 left in the wall, so his chance of Tsumoing is pretty high. However, again, I do wonder whether Tenho is showing the Uradora as one of those tiles from the looks of it. Champion does deal into it. Loses a few points out of there, but it does end the game, and it does give 8k points to SBT, dealing into the what's known as the Takame, or the higher deal in there. Leaving J-Cakes, unfortunately, in third place, and SBT grabbing those sweet 20-point swing from hitting third to second, sorry. Now we have a short wait until the next set of games. Trying to think. I'll see if the next games have started yet. Seem to have a few people watching. Hopefully that's a good sign. Hopefully my commentating is keeping up with this. It is a lot more challenging than I expected to be solo commentating this. The next games will be starting in 2 minutes, so the next, we'll be starting to watch them in about 7, since the 5 minutes gap. So as I was saying, it's a lot more challenging doing this than I expected, but most of the people in the Australian group who would normally jump on and help out with commentating are actually all playing in this. So if anyone watched our team championship earlier in the year, you will have seen a lot of J-Cakes, Cheese, SBT, Totoro doing a lot of the commentating, and obviously they are all playing in this tournament. One might ask, why is Osborne not in there as well? And that's a good question. It's because I missed the deadline. Like a complete scrub. Thanks, Viet. But yeah, so it is a bit more difficult to try and keep up with all 4 of them. So if I do miss things or miscount things, I do apologize. But I will do what I can and try and manage it as best I can. So we have about a 5-minute wait. The games are about to start. Yeah, the games are starting now. We should now decide what I am going to watch for the next one, or what we're going to watch for the next one. We have Cheese versus Koala versus J-Cakes, which might be an interesting matchup. Nosti, Veggie, AKT Trayton, Merovo, Ronald, SBT, and Competo. Orlao, Rariel, Champio, and Ecoest. I think, at least for people who are known in the wider Mahjong community, we might go with the Cheese, Koala, J-Cakes, and Akarin match. Just because it's also going to be an interesting one as well, I feel, with quite a large number of high-level players in there. All the matches will be interesting to some degree or another, but unfortunately we can only watch one. While potentially I could find a way to have 4 different Tenho clients open and let people watch all 4 at once, I'm not sure that would be actually that interesting to watch and would be utterly impossible to commentate. So I will not attempt to do that. So yeah, we have a 5-minute wait. I should probably confirm where the... So the Online Reach Mahjong Championships is going to be on the 14th. Sorry, the qualifications will be on the 7th of November, and the team finals and the individual tournament will be on the 14th of November, a week later. So if those are interested in that, please check out the, I think it's Korean Mahjong League's webpage, kml.or.kr. And it looks like the participating nations that will be in that are Argentina, Australia, Austria, Brazil, Canada, People's Republic of China, France, Great Britain, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Japan, Republic of Korea, Russian Federation, Singapore, Sweden, Chinese Taipei, Ukraine, United States of America, and Vietnam. And in cooperation with people from with groups from most of those. So yeah, I urge people to go and watch that. If times line up, I will do my best to try and get a stream of those going, particularly of the team tournament. But it will depend a bit on the time frame. It's at 11 a.m. UTC, which is pushing quite late already here in Australia. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, it also depends if I can get a co-commentator for that. I feel probably better to have a secondary commentator for that, and hopefully, not everyone can make it in the team, so I'll be able to pull someone who isn't into that. Okay, so we are waiting here. We watched Koala last time, so we're not going to stick on him. We are going to follow Cheese. So we have a 3-minute wait. So for 27QQ, Akarin was apparently used to be known as 26QQ. So if anyone knows 26QQ, that is him. He's also the current leader of this tournament. So yeah, this will be both Cheese wanting to come out of his 4th place, J Cakes wanting to come out of his 3rd, and Koala wanting to come out of his 2nd. So we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 result on this table already, and everyone's going to try and improve their score from last time. So we will see who manages that. Okay, another 2 minutes to go. Again, this is a 4 hanchan series with the top 4 cumulative scores qualifying to represent Australia in the International Online Reach Mahjong tournament. So it is just the 4 best, total of all 4 games and the 4 best results. The UMA is a 15-10. Or is it? I think it's 15-10. No, not that one. I had it just here. Okay, the UMA's been removed. So I don't know. I'll share with the total later. But yeah, the UMA is similar to Tenho in the fact I believe it might be 2010 with a standard Oka, which is the bonus for first place. Apologies if any of that water swallowing got onto the stream. And yeah, we are seconds away from starting the 2nd round here in a match between Cheese, J Cakes, Koala, and Akarin. So for in terms of things, Akarin is another Brisbane player. Koala, as I mentioned last time, is from Sydney. However, Cheese and J-Cakes are both Melburnians, Melbourne-siders, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, we are in with Akarin having the first dealership. We have our East Wind as the door, a couple pairs here and there, including Koala having a pair of the door, which is a very nice start here. Cheese having a decent shape here, a few decent shapes, pair of white dragons to go with it. Akarin having the pair of the green dragon as well as a couple completed blocks in the 2-mans and the 3-man. So he's looking at, you know, Tushan 10 over there, which is pretty decent for a dealership. You want to get a quick win if you're not going to get the value. Cheese makes some progress. He is now Tushan 10. He pawns, getting him to Ishan 10. He is going... Question is, what is he going to discard here? He breaks his Sozu group. I'm guessing this might be to allow him to shift to a Honitsu Manzu if he manages to pull some more Manzu, and he can use his 3-man as the pair. So we now have Koala making a few blocks completed here and there. He still wants to get that Dora east for his Yaku, otherwise he will have to reach. However, we have one in J-Cakes' hand, and the other is still in the wall. Koala hits another pair, getting him to 4 pairs. So he potentially increasing his chances of calling here. Cheese has committed to his Honitsu, throwing out the 4-pin pair. He does pull another Manzu, so he's in great shape here for Honitsu. However, he would have to pair up the Hatsu, which is not going to happen from the looks of it. So he will need to pull another Manzu from somewhere. He'll have to pull a couple Manzu still. He's actually a lot further than it may seem. He could potentially hit Tenpai and a 9-so, but he's probably not going to want to. Yeah, he throws it there, so he's committing to that Haku Honitsu. Actually, I was planning on using some of the WRC official English Yaku names. However, I did not print out the sheet, unlike Jen and Garth the other day. Koala pawns the 2-pin, hitting Tenpai for what will be a Mangan of a East Dora 3 if he gets it. However, both the Easts are now in other people's hands, so unless they decide to throw them, he is kind of stuck. Akarin making some progress, but he still has to get rid of that East somehow. J-Cake's in the same position. Only Cheese is still in position to push against this. And that'll come very close to doing it. He's now Ishan 10. He just needs... It's a bit of an awkward one. He needs... what is it? 2? A 1-man would do it. A 2-man... most of the Manzu will do it, but the resulting weight won't be wonderful. But he has to decide if he wants to push this Chun, and he does not. He drops the 1-man. However, 2 Chuns are now in Akarin's hand. So we might see a draw game here, with only Totoro and Tenpai. No, he will... Oh, actually, no. He's got no Yaku, so he is now in Footy 10. And he has to decide what to do. He breaks... Okay, he's still in Footy 10. But he shifts his weight to a 7, so... Cheese does... He hits Tenpai, but he's waiting on a Chun. So he does get his 1,500 points from that. And we move over to East 2 with Koala as dealer, who starts with a pair of chun in his hand and a Dora. The Dora is the Wonso. The other hands seem relatively standard. Cheese has some nice blocks, potential for, I want to say Tanya, but even that's a bit of a push without some good draws. So probably Riichi Pinfu in there. Well, that helps the Tanya things. Akarin is getting some decent Manzu blocks. He's looking probably at a straight Riichi Pinfu. I think he is actually an Ishan. No, he's not. Sorry. It's not quite an Ishanten, he's 2-shanten. Koala pawns the Chun, wanting to get a quick win on his dealership. He's currently 2-shanten, 3-shanten. Sorry, my shanten counting isn't that great at the moment. Or not that quick, I should say. No progress for Cheese lately. He's had a bit of bad luck with his draws. J Cakes makes some progress here, moving to Shanten. No, Ishanten. For a potentially Tanya hand, or a Riichi Dora one. Remains to be seen. Akarin has broken out his 7-9 so group in favor of another Manzu group. Or potentially a Champon weight on the 1 man and the north. Cheese draws another pair, but does confirm his route towards Tanyao. He is now 2-shanten. Koala has not made much progress. He has gotten rid of his Dora. But other than that, has made not much progress. Cheese has to do something with his north. Akarin does not call the north there. He wants to reach here. So I'm a bit curious about, actually. Oh well. Probably feels not enough value. Cheeks does hit Tenpai for a Tanyao only hand, but it is going to be 2-6 if he gets it. He is waiting on the 3-so, 3 of which are in the wall, which is a decent weight for a middleweight. Akarin pulls it and holds it in his hand. Koala pulls it and holds it in his hand. There's now only 1 left in the wall. Cheese has to decide here how he's pushing, if he is pushing. But that 3-so could potentially come out. He decides to break the 3-2-man group instead. Which unfortunately he would have completed had he not. Oh well, these things happen. That is Mahjong. He seems to be pushing a fold here. Not pushing a fold, but you know what I mean. We still have 1 3-so left for J Cakes in the wall. Cheese is actually managing to play around a bit. He could still get back to Tenpai. Akarin's hand doesn't seem to be going many places. I think he'll probably end up folding at this point. We get a con from J Cakes. Doesn't add any Dora. Doesn't really help him in practice, but it does get him a bunch of extra food. So if he does get it, I believe that takes him up to 50 food for that hand. Cheese decides to not throw that. Okay. The last 3-so comes there, so we have a 6-9 weight for Akarin. He's actually managed to get to Tenpai. So Akarin and J Cakes are in Tenpai at the end of that, balancing out the scores to exactly even. Going into, well, not exactly even, sorry, the Riichi stick is on the board. But yeah, J Cakes is now dealer. We have the 1-so as the Dora again. And overall, we have a pair of the Haku in Akarin's hand. A few pairs, actually, so he could potentially pursue a Chitoi or a Toitoi hand. Koala has a pair of South, sorry, not East, which unfortunately doesn't do him much good in terms of value, but still a potential block there. He's got a few other pairs, so we might see potentially a Honitsu if he wants to force it. But it would be a bit of a hard force for the Honitsu there, so gets rid of West first. Um, Apologies for that. Akarin is potentially pushing towards a Haku only hand, or potentially a just a Tanya hand, depending if he wants to keep that Haku or not. There is one Haku on the board and one in J Cakes' hands. So J Cakes' hand is there's the Haku. So Akarin has decided to not call that. So I'm guessing he'll be okay. I'm not quite sure what Akarin's doing here in terms of keeping that Haku pair. Because he can't get Pinfu or Tanya with that there, and he can't make it into a triplet anymore. So I'm guessing we'll see it dropped here. No, he is potentially pushing for a Toy Toy here, which fair enough. We get a pawn of the Chun to Koala, who is managed to get to that Honitsu in the end. Well, progress to it. I believe he's Ishanten? No, two Shanten. Now he's Ishanten. Pushing for that Chun Honitsu for 3,900 points. Cheese makes further progress, getting him to Ishanten? Ishanten. Or is that two Shanten? No, it's Ishanten. Apologies. Akarin is Ishanten for a Chi Toitsu. He's got a few possibilities. He could even end up with a Ipeiko in there if he wanted, but it's a bit awkward with that pair of dead Haku. J Cakes is making progress. He is now Ishan. Yeah, Ishanten. For a Tanyao. Oh, I was going to say potentially Ipeiko, but not anymore. He is in Tempai now, waiting on a 7-pin, all of which are in the wall. So there is some progress here happening. J Cakes wanting to get some of the points back. Tempai for Totoro waiting on a 4-mon only. There's one 4-mon on the wall. As for the 7 pins, 2 of them have come out. Totoro is in Ishanten still. Akarin has dropped that pair of Haku in the end. Probably trying to avoid dealing in at this point. J Cakes' last 7-pin is still in the wall. Sorry, 2 7-pins are in the wall still. There it goes. And that'll be 1-5? Yeah, 1-5 for J Cakes, but it does get him into first place with these current scores. We are now in East 3-3, I guess. Technically, carryovers means East 3-3. With the 7-mon as the Dora. We have a pair of Chun in Koala's hand, a few pairs in Cheeks' or in J Cakes' hand, but not much in the way of groups. Another pair for J Cakes. Cheese's hand is looking decent potential for Ikitsukan here, or as well as a 7-8-9 Sanshoku. Akarin is also got potential for an Ikitsukan, but in Manzu, not much else at the moment. But he does have a Dora, as does Cheese. Koala has managed to get a pair of North as well, so he has both Chun and North as pairs. And hopefully is hoping to pair up one or both of group up one or both of those. Cheese gets even further. He has to make a decision of whether to. Yep, he breaks the possibility of Sanshoku here, wanting to keep the Ikitsukan and potential Dora pair. Akarin pushing for Honitsu as well at this point. And still a chance at Ikitsukan on top of that, so that could potentially be a Mangan there. especially if he gets the Haku triplet. Excuse me. Koala gets a pair of the Green Dragon as well, giving him a Honitsu and potentially 2 Yaku, so almost a guaranteed Mangan there. Sorry, it is a Mangan there unless he breaks the Honitsu. However, he is still 2 Shanten away. Or sorry, still 2 Shanten. He pawns that Green Dragon finally. He's managed to get some progress here. He has to decide how he's going to break this. He breaks the 9 pin, hoping that the Chun or the North comes out, but also the fact that both the Chun and the North are Yaku to him, so whichever comes out is still a point. So we're looking at a Yaku Yaku Honitsu here. For basically a Mangan, he is now in Tenpai for that, which would get him back into first place. J-Cakes is dancing around, trying not to deal in. He is also Ishan 10. We have one of both the North and the Chun still in the wall. One of the Chuns is in Akarin's hand. We get a reach from Cheese, waiting on a 8-mon only for a reach Dora. Akarin pulls the 8-mon. He has to decide what he's going to do here. He breaks his Haku pair. Cheese gets the Chun, which deals into Koala. Unfortunate for Cheese, giving Koala 8,000 points. Sorry, was it? Yeah, plus the bonus for the 3 continuations. It is now East 4. We have our Dora in the 9th so. A spattering of honors around. A pair of Chuns for Cheese, so potentially a quick dash for him as well as a Dora. So not a horrible starting hand for him, though the shapes could be a little bit better. Akarin's hand, decent shapes in the middle, not much value at all, to be honest. We get a pair of South for Cheese. To decide if he wants to keep that. It doesn't actually do much for him at the moment, but does let him push towards potential Honitsu in Souza. We have not seen many of the Dora at this point. We only see the one in Cheese's hand for now. J-Cakes is... I'm pushing for it. I'm not sure what J-Cakes is pushing for here. Potentially a Cheetoy, potentially... Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think he might have been wanting to get a Honitsu, but maybe not anymore. Cheese is now, I think it's 2 Shanten. As Akarin is making some progress in his hand, he is Ishan 10 at this point on a what would be a reach Nomi. He'd want to be drawing the 6-mon at some point to shift his hand into... Oh, he shifted again. Yeah, he's still Ishan 10 though. Okay, Akarin throwing around, just rotating tiles through his hand at this point. Though it does increase his acceptance here. He can accept the 9 so now as a possible tile. Cheese does get a closed triplet of the red dragons, putting him into Ishan 10. Be interesting to see if he tries to... Yeah, he throws the 2 there, confirming the 3-pin as his pair most likely. Koala's hand is looking at mostly a Tanyao here. He's got a few awkward shapes to finish off there. Overall, he's got the Dora at least, but there's not much value. Cheese draws a second Dora here. So he does push for Honitsu here, which would be Chun Honitsu Dora 2 for 12k as the dealer. But it is getting late in the hand already, so the chances of him finishing it could potentially be a bit lower. He does Chi here, putting him into Ishan 10. He still needs one more tile. Koala gets to Tenpai on a 4-pin wait with a Reach Dora 2. However, all the 4s are in Akarin's hand, so he's unlikely to get that. Cheese does hit Tenpai as well, waiting on the south or the 9-so, but the 9-so is in Koala's hand, so he can only win on the south, of which one is in J-Cakes' hand, the other seems to still be in the wall. So we will see if either of them manage to get their wins. Akarin or Koala is at the mercy of Akarin. And it's honestly, I think it's unlikely that 4-pin will come out. It is now Nakasuji, so both the 1 and the 7-pin have come out, so it might perceive to be safer, but Akarin's has got too many safe tiles to even want to risk it. Oh, and Cheese Sumos. He gets his 4K all, putting him into first and making up for the loss of the 8K earlier. He is now just in first place by 300 points over Koala. And we go into East 4-1. Okay, so this is for anyone who might be joining us at this point. We are currently in the second round of the Australian team qualifier. The Australian qualifier for the IORMC. So this is to choose the 4 players who will represent Australia at the tournament in November. We are in East 4 in a game between Cheese, Akarin, Koala, and J-Cakes. This hand we have Cheese with potential Ikitsukan here, as well as the East, double East if he gets it, and what seems to be pushing for Honitsu. Whereas Akarin also seems to be pushing for Honitsu, but in Manzu he hits Tenpai waiting on a South or a Hatsu. Koala hits Tenpai, waiting on a 2-so for a Reach Dora for 2,600 points. That might slow down Cheese and J-Cakes a little bit. J-Cakes is looking at a potential Honitsu there. I believe he is Ishan 10. But there is very little value. Sorry, not Honitsu, Tanyo. But there's very little value outside that. He doesn't have any Dora. He probably won't want to push too hard against Koala's Reach here. While yes, he needs the points, at the same time... Oh, we get a Tsumo from Koala, giving him an extra one there. Does he flip any Ura? He does not, for 4,000 points, or 1K, 2K. So both Cheese and Koala seem to be swapping the leads back and forth here, with both Akarin and J-Cakes paying the price and slowly slipping further and further down. Koala is back in first and is now over 30k, so is considered positive. Now that doesn't actually matter in this rule set, but considering the Oka, it is at least noteworthy. The Dora is the 1-pin, of which we see a couple. Both Cheese and J-Cakes have one each in their hand. But as goes with the terminal Doras, they're a bit harder to use because you'll end up with a penchan, or sorry, an edge weight or a middle weight for them. Akarin seems to have a nice Tanyo hand building here. He is, I believe, 2-shan 10, 3-shan 10. Whereas Koala is also looking at, probably a Reach here. He might get Ikitsukan here. There's not a huge amount of value there either. So we just need to see how that goes. Cheeks does have a pair of North, which doesn't do much for him unless he wants to go for a Toy, but he's got the pair of 9s as well, so we'll see where he goes with that. Cheese, his hand progresses further. He is now 2-shan 10 with a he's now Ishan 10, apologies. However, he has to decide what he wants to do with the Dora. So he's hoping here to pair up the Dora. However, if he does get either the 6 or the 9 pin, he will likely throw the Dora, or the 2-man, he'll likely throw the Dora into a Reach. Looking at Akarin is going closer. He seems to be hesitant to throw the North here. I'm not quite sure why. He might want to get rid of the 3-pin earlier. particularly since it can be used against the Dora, or with the Dora, I should say. Koala's making progress. He has managed to get his Ikitsukan done. He is Ishan 10 for what could be a Pinfu Ikitsukan, which would be 3-9 without the reach. However, he does need, a 3-pin. A 3-pin probably is ideal draw, or the Dora. However, the Dora is unlikely. There's only one more left now. He does get the 3-pin, so he is now in Tenpai for Ikitsukan Pinfu, which is 3-9, 3,900 points. Waiting on a 1-4 weight. It'll be Mangan if he does get the Dora. Cheese hits Tenpai, waiting on a 2-5 so. However, the 5 so's are currently dead, unlikely to come out. However, J-Cakes does throw the door into the hands of in the hands of Totoro, giving him 8,000 points, extending his lead and sending J-Cakes down into 4th place. We are now into South 2 with Koala's dealership. Now he'll probably just want to run up the clock, run up the points here, run up the scoreboard, I believe is the term. As overall score will still be relevant. He has no reason to not just keep pushing for score. The Dora is again the 1-pin, of which Koala and Cheese have one apiece. Cheese has got potential shapes here, but it's also a bit wonky with some middle and edge weights. Akarin's hand is, again, not the most wonderful shapes in the world, and no value on top of that. 7, 8. Koala's hand, he's got some nicer shapes and the 1 value, but he still has a few holes to fill, particularly with that Dora, and the 6-8 pin. So the Pinzu shapes aren't that great, but he does have the Dora as well. J-Cakes really needs points here. Has some pretty shapes in Sozu, or at least potential shapes in Sozu, but also he has 4 pairs, so potentially Toy, potentially Chi-Toy if he gets the right draws. He has drawn a Dora there as well, so he could have a Chi-Toy Dora 2-hand if his draws go well. Akarin moves a step closer to Tenpai. However, he does have that. He's a middleweight. He still has to fill in. Koala's seems to be making some progress. He has a pair set out. He's got all his groups. He's actually Ishan 10 now. For potential things. Ooh, Cheese gets a much needed extension there, giving him some very nice shapes. He still has to deal with his 2 worst shapes, the 1-2 so and the 6-8 man. But he does have some space in Pinzu to hopefully drop one of those at least. Akarin's hand is interesting. I guess he's trying to hold the north there to make get some value in there. J-Cakes is making some progress. He's got some groups now. He's Tushan 10, but again, currently that door is sitting out in the open, so he has very little value unless he can use it somehow. Koala's also holding on to a north, probably to try and reach off of when he gets one of his tiles. However, he's just thrown it to try and get a better tile acceptance with that 7-mon. Cheese slightly improves his acceptance there, getting the 8, allowing him to accept another 8 if need be. Totoro does get his Tenpai in the end, waiting on a 2-pin only, one of which is left in the wall, for a Reach Dora 1, which will be to dealer. I should know this. 3,900. Cheese also gets Tenpai, waiting on a 7-mon, 3 of which are in Koala's hand, and 1 of which is in J-Cakes' hand. So Cheese is unlikely to get that. But if he does, it is also a Reach Dora 1 for 2,600 points. So there's 1 2-pin in the wall left for Koala. We'll see if he manages to get it or if someone else draws it. J-Cake seems to be... He throws a 7, painfully dealing into cheese for that 5,200. Cheese hits a Urodora. So that puts cheese within a Mangan, almost a Mangan range of koala. It sends J-Cakes very far down, so he'll need to do a lot of work on this dealership to come back into range. He does start off with a Dora, but however the Dora is west, which makes it that much more difficult to use. It doesn't count for a Yaku in its own right. What have we got in the way of hands here? Totoro is looking at a decent, what is potentially a Tanyao hand. He'll probably want to just try and finish this game off quickly. He's not going to go too much for value. Even though value does count, he's wanting to lock in that first place bonus. He doesn't want cheese coming anywhere near him. J-Cakes' hand not progressing as much as he'd like, I'm guessing. He's getting a lot of pairs. Doesn't quite fit. Like, it works, but it's also difficult. He does have a potential, sorry, not Tanya potential there, but he does have to drop the Dora for it. So Koala opens, looking for an open Tanyao. He is currently Ishan 10 on that. Akarin's hand is looking at... He's making some progress. He's going to Tanyao here, it looks like. He could get a Tanyao Pingfu if he's lucky. Cheese's hand... he's having some troubles with his blocks, it looks like. There's a few pairs, a few middleweights. But at the moment it looks like Koala's probably the closest to completing his hand. J-Cake's really wanting to get somewhere, and the tile's just not really giving him what he wants. Cheese does fill in the edge weight that he was having to deal with, so he moves one step closer. He is now actually Ishan 10. For a potential Sanchoku in the 3-4-5, if he... well, quite likely that if he draws it right. And I apologize, he's actually Tushan 10, not Ishan 10. Akarin gets Tenpai waiting on a 1-4 weight. At the same time, Totoro has hit Tenpai waiting on a 6-4 man. Both of those are Manzu. So we have a 1-4 Manzu and a 3-6 Manzu. The 4 Manzu look to be dead, at least within people's hands. The 1 man, there is still 2 in the wall. The 6 man are in... No, there's 1 in the wall. And the 3 man, there is 2 in the wall. So it's still possible that either of them can win. But we will see whether they might be at the mercy of the wall. And Akarin does sumo, depriving J-Cakes of even more points, unfortunately. Not flipping an Urodora, so only getting Riichi Pinfood Sumo for 320 Fu. We are into South 4 and some fast hands looking here. Totoro starting with, was that Tushan 10, I think? He's got the Yaku in the west if he can get it. We have Cheese as last dealer, getting a quick Hatsupon in there. The Dora is the 6-pin, of which we don't see any of at this point, but a lot of people can actually use it in their hand. To some extent. Cheese is looking at, I think, Tushan 10. Not much in the way of value, but he'll probably want the Renchan here than anything else. J-Cakes opens up quickly with the 8-pin pawn. I'm not sure if he's trying to finish this quickly, or is going to try and force a Honitsu here. Looks like the Honitsu route, so if he gets a few Dora, then that'll help as well. Cheese seems to be forcing the Honitsu not forcing, Cheese seems to be going towards Honitsu as well. Getting a few extra points in there, probably wanting to overtake Koala. need to double check with our Gariyame Nashian. I think I missed a call there. I think Totoro called. Cheese is pushing. It's definitely confirmed his Honitsu here. J Cakes is not getting any luck in getting his pins. He is Ishan 10 now for Cheese. He is almost there. Totoro is also Ishan 10 now. However, he will likely have to throw that east, which will give Cheese his Tenpai. Here he goes. And his Tenpai for Cheese, waiting on a 1-4. However, we see three of the fours. There's Tenpai for Koala as well, for a west or a north. West is still on the wall. West has 2 in the wall. North has 1 in the wall. Cheese Sumos, however, giving him 2k. Oh, sorry, Mangan. I miscounted there. Apologies for 4k all, putting him in first place. So that is a very nice move from Cheese, and also answers my question that Gariyame Nashi. So even though Cheese is the top here and he won that hand, the game will still continue until the round would move on normally. Koala is now is also still within Mangan range. He'll likely push for a Honitsu here. But it will be Honitsu Chun. He doesn't seem to be able to get much more value than that. He might get a West if he's lucky. But it won't be enough to catch Cheese, so he'll probably try and get his second place here. Cheese has got some decent shapes. He's actually Ishan 10 for a Reach Dora 1. He could potentially shift to a 1-2-3 Sanshoku, but he'd have to draw that 1 pin. No, he is forcing that Sanshoku, it looks like. Sure on that. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Akarin seems to be pushing a Pinzu Honitsu. More likely a Pinzu Chinitsu at this point. Totoro hits Tenpai, waiting on a 3-man. Cheese hits Tenpai, Furiten Tenpai, waiting on a 1-4 pin. J Cakes is not having any luck. Cheese Sumo's winner. Giving us yet another round in this game and sending everyone else that little bit further. Koala needs that little bit more now. Yeah, excuse me. So yeah, we are now in South 4-2. We have a quick reach from Koala here. Third turn reach, waiting on a 4-7. No, yes, 4-7. Potentially for an Ikitsukan if he gets the 4. If he gets it from Cheese, it would actually be first place, but other than that, he would need the 4 from Cheese, I think, to get the first place. Also, you might be seeing some of the scores coming through. I'm not sure if they've been updated yet. No, not yet, looks like. J-Cake seems to be having a slightly better hand this time. However, no Dora. There are 2 Dora in Akarin's hand. He could potentially... sorry, my mistake. 3 Dora in Akarin's hand. But he does have that 4-man to get rid of somehow. So we'll have to see if he manages that. But he does seem to be pushing for a Tanya. Cheese gets another 7, so he has to decide whether he throws to Koala or not. He does not at this point. Cheese is still making progress. Cheese has shifted to at least a Tanya. And he Koala sumos that for a reach Tsumo, Pinfu, Ikitsukan, and a Dora, which I think is enough. It is. it gets him into first place, putting him first, Cheese in second, Akar in third, and JCake's actually going negative at negative 500 points. That is not what JCakes wanted there, but the best result for Koala. Cheese will be a bit miffed at losing out on first, but that is the game. I believe we have one game going left. Yes, Lao Sabao champion Rariel and Echoest, or Echo Round, I think is the other. Yeah, Echo Round. So we will take a look at that briefly. They are in South 3-2. We have Echo Round or Echoest in first, Champion in second, Lao Sabao in third, and Rariel quite a ways down in fourth. So this seems to be, probably the, Lao Sabao is going to be wanting a few points pushed closer, but he is last dealer, so he could potentially get a few points that way. The Dora is the 4-man, of which we can see 1, 2. One is in Champion's discards, and one is in Equest's hand. Champion has pawned the 9-man. I'm guessing he's probably going for Toy Toy here. We have Lao Sabao making progress. He is now, I think, or he still is Ishan 10 for a reach Pinfu. Well, it'd be Pinfu, whether he reaches or not is up to him. We have Rariel's hand making progress. I think he's Ishan 10 as well. We get another pawn for Champion, so he's that step closer. And we have so Champion still needs one more pawn, one more call to get to Tenpai. However, it's still not possible. I think there's. Oh no, it's unlikely to get the 9-pin because he need it from Lao. The 4-pin, he could potentially get. I don't see anything. There's one still in the wall. But it is a bit rough. He does need the 2-so as well, which is also in the wall. So he could still get it. It's just a bit of a rough grouping. We have Echoist in Ishan 10. Actually, it's Ishan 10. It might be Tishan 10. Rariel's hand is slowly coming together. He's still Ishan 10. He does shift to a Tanya at least now, so he's got some progress there, or potential Tanya, but we are at the end of the hand, so this will be going to a draw. With Rariel hitting Tenpai just in time for that to collect his 3,000 points. We are in South 4-3 with Lao Sabao as dealer, starting with 2 Dora, 2 South, and 2 Chun in his hand. That is a very nice starting hand for him as a dealer, particularly considering his point situation. He gets a quick pawn of the Chun and the South, making even further progress. However, now becomes more of an issue. He's got 4 blocks. He still needs to find a 5th in his honors, which he does, getting a pair of the Easts. Wow, he's getting some good draws this round. He is now Ishan 10 for Dora 2 Yaku Yaku, so South Chun Dora 2, potentially another one on that, so quite likely a dealer Mangan. Rariel's hand is looking okay, some decent shapes, but not much in the way of value at this point. Echoest's in a similar position, but with a few edge and middleweights to deal with as well. Rariel makes some progress there, moving a bit closer, or at least a better weight. Champion's hand not looking wonderful, some awkward shapes, and no value, but he does have potential of accepting a Dora, so there's some progress there. Lao Sabao increases his tile acceptance here, however, that doesn't get him any closer. We get Champion has got a 2-so here, which will be nice for him, filling in that 1, 2, 3-so group. He throws the 5. Lao hits Tenpai, drawing a Dora, giving him a Mangan waiting on a 4-so. Sorry, a 3-so. of which we can see all of them. So it's either have to come from Rarial or it's going to have to come from Champion. However, I feel like both of them are used. It might come from Champion, whereas Rarials, I don't see it coming out of at all. However, it's possible that we can see Lao drawing a 2 or 4 to give him Toy Toy as well, which would be, potential buy-mon, I think. Oh, never mind. We get the 3-story there from Champion for 12k points to Lao, putting him in striking distance of first place, only 3,400 points short. Sorry, just keeping track of what's happening in the background on the administration side, so nothing too crazy. So Lao is looking for a few more points here. He has a decent hand. I think it's 2 shan 10, 3 shan 10. He does have 2 Dora now, which is also quite nice for him. So again, he's getting that value in there. He's now Ishan 10 for a Dora 2 hand. Echoist has got a couple pairs, including a pair of his Wind, which he then straight away pawns, putting him into 2 shan 10. Excuse me. We now have a reach from Lao, who is now waiting on a Dora or a 9-mon for a reach Dora 2 or potentially 3. Trying to see exactly. We have 1 Dora left in the wall. However, the 9-mon are in Rarial's hand, as is one of the Doras. So, Echoist seems to have disconnected, which is a bit awkward. I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully they'll be back soon. But it does mean he will be Tsumogiriing. Or, no, he's back now. That's good. Never fun when you have someone, disconnecting in a online tournament, particularly if it causes feeds or whatever. But sometimes computer issues happen, or net issues. We're still waiting to see where that last Dora comes from. On the other hand, we have Ishan 10, it looks like, for Rarial. A Tempai for Echoist, waiting on a 2-5-mon. Champion seems to be going for a Tempai shape. We get the 2 from here. Rarial manages to not deal in, which is nice. But he does have to make some decisions about where he's going with his hand now. It does seem to be keeping all of them. We get Champion hitting Tempai, waiting on a 3-6, I believe. 3-6-9, actually. Manzu. So we have a lot of Manzu weights at this point. I think almost everyone's in Tempai here, but Echoist gets the win from Champion for the 1,000 points to end the game, giving Echoist first place, Lao in third, Champion manages to keep third, and Rarial is in last place. That is the end of the second hanchan. We will have a few minutes to wait before the next round. I believe the next round is going to be starting at 45, so that is in 5 minutes, which means the next round will start on stream in about 10 minutes. I might take a couple minute break just to use the restroom, and I will be back in 2 seconds. Okay, and we are back. Well, I am back at least, and the scores seem to have been updated. Um, there seems to be a bit of a shake-up here and there, so even though Lao came second, we currently have Lao Sabao in first place with a score of 66. We have Koala in second at 63, and then there's a bit of a big gap. We have Echoist at 34, Akarin at 33, Champion close behind at 28, before another gap for Rariel at 16, SBT 11, Trayton at 10, and then Nosti the lone single-digit positive. Competo as the lone, only just negative. However, some not great times for Veggie, J-Cakes, and Ronald, who are all more than negative 50 in their scores. Morovo and Cheese could potentially still turn things around, but we'll have to do a bit of work. Yeah. Also need to see what we're going to do for our next matchup. If anyone's got a player they would like to watch, please let me know. Who have we got? We've got Lao is playing Koala again. No, again? They haven't played yet, have they? No, they haven't played yet. So we might watch the Lao Koala game. Just to see where that goes with that. Echoist is playing SBT, Nosti, and Cheese. Is SBT on this list? Oh, he's in 7th. He's doing okay. Cheeks, Rariel, Morovo, Trayton. Yeah, I think we'll probably do the Lao, Koala, Veggie, Competo game as our next game. Just because Koala and Lao are the top two players. Veggie and Competo are much lower down, but they still have potential of disrupting the order. So we will see what actually happens there. Getting pinged by stuff. Yeah, I've been told that technically I've actually watched Koala's games twice now, which, yeah, that's been unlikely. That's been unlucky, I should say. So we will see how things go. I kind of want to see how Lao's game goes with him, but if people want to see other games, I might do that as well. But honestly, I feel at this point we're more dictated by what's going to be the most interesting for the rankings than anything else. But what else could we potentially look at? Cheese Nosti could be an interesting one, as well as SBT in there. We have AKTK versus Ronald versus Champion versus Akarin. Oh, yeah, could be a potentially easy one as well. An easy one, a good one to watch as well. Morovo, Rariel, Cheeks, and Trayton. That's. I mean, they're all potentially going to be interesting at some point or another. I am curious to hear if anyone watching has any preferences on who they would like to watch. Because I am definitely open to considering people's opinions here. Looks like the next hanchan is just starting, so we will have a 5-minute wait, and then we will be able to view as well. Yeah, so we have another 2 more hanchan to go, so this one and one more, before we find out who the 4 representatives of the Australian team will be for the online International Online Reach Mahjong Championship, which is held in November. The top 4 overall scores will qualify to represent Australia. This is for the team tournament, by the way. The individual tournament is separate. The tournament is held at the beginning of November. I believe the qualifiers are on the 7th, and the finals in the team tournament are on the 14th of November. please check out the Korean Mahjong League's webpage for more information. Which is kml.or.kr. There are teams from all over the world participating, including teams from obviously Japan, but also Ukraine, Vietnam, Indonesia, Brazil, Canada. So yeah, it's a very international competition. Australia did win the team tournament last year, so we'll be looking at following that up and protecting that lead. We are hitting the business end, so yeah, I might do some stuff with the. Okay. So currently I've been playing around with a scoreboard on the side. You see is technically a live score based off what's been put into the results spreadsheet. However, I'm going to stop that from automatically updating for now, just because that seems to be causing a few issues for admin in terms of they wanting to hold off result scores, and I don't want to cause them too many issues. So yeah, we have 4 games to watch. Ronald, Champion, Akarin, AKTK, Veggie, Koala, Kumpeto, Lao Sabao, Rariel, Trayton, Cheesecakes, Morovo, EchoEst, SBT, Cheese, and Nosti. Ronald. We've seen all of these at least once or twice. Players we haven't seen yet. AKTK, Morovo, Competo. Not sure we've seen a Veggie game yet. So yeah, we might watch Morovo, Cheesecakes, Rariel, Trayton, and see how that goes. Morovo being the lone Canberran person from Canberra, Canberrian, Canberra, something, who was also participant in the team tournament back in the first half of this year. So currently, I think we have a few other people from there as part of the online community. However, Morovo is the most active. Rariel, as I mentioned before, is from Brisbane. Trayton, I believe, is actually from Adelaide. I think he's another Adelaidean. Cheeks Chan or J Cakes, as I mentioned, is also from Melbourne. So yeah, this is actually, we have one person from each state in this, or each person's from a different state in this one, which I think is the first we've had today. So it's be interesting to see who wins here. J Cakes is really going to want to get a good score here. He needs a lot of work to get out of that bottom. He needs a big first to have a chance. Morovo as well, not as bad, but he still needs a first. Trayton's doing okay, but if he wants to try and qualify, he needs at least a second here, and ideally a first. Rariel is in a similar position, so we kind of have Rariel and Trayton in similar positions, and J Cakes and Morovo in similar positions on the leaderboard. So we'll see how that plays into their game. And we are now into East 1 of the game. We have Rariel as our starting dealer. The Dora is the 8-pin. We have a quick pawn of the Haku from Morovo, pushing for what looks to be a 1,000 point hand. There's very little other value in his hand. Rariel as dealer has some decent blocks, but a few middleweights to fill out there. Trayton, some very nice blocks. Potential of Tanyao. He's actually Ishan 10 now, I believe. Yeah, he's Ishan 10. But it's Pinfu only at this point. Okay, that puts him a bit much better Ishan 10 now. But yeah, still Pinfu only unless you can Yeah, he's going to struggle to get to Tanya there. He'd have to draw a 6-0 and then another one, which is not actually possible, since two are now in Morovo's hand. J Cakes' hand is looking okay. He's got a few decent blocks, but again, not much in the way of value, mostly just a Tanyo, but acceptance for a Dora. We see a Dora there from Trayton, who has no way of using it, so it discards it straight away. J Cakes does fill in that 2-3, so middleweight, which is nice, and pushes towards Tanyo. Morovo hits Tushanten for his 1,000 point hand, whereas Rariel has a Dora, has a bunch of pairs. He could go a number of ways. He could go for the Cheetoy route, but he's more likely to end up in a Reach Dora route at this point, I think. Potentially Sanshoku, but it's a bit far away considering he doesn't have an 8 or a 7 Sozu. Okay, Wiki uses Canberran. Canberran? Canberran. Okay, thank you for that. So Morovo, the lone Canberran. Canberran? Sounds like Cameron almost. Yeesh. I'll blame my accent for that. Anyway, Rariel has dropped that Dora. He seems to... Not quite sure what he's aiming to do there. I guess he's trying to push for the Cheetoy here. Or Suanko if he gets that far, but I doubt he will. Trayton is still a bit short. He is still in that Ishan 10 position. He has shifted it slightly, but he's still kind of stuck there. J Cakes has made some progress. He is now Ishan. Yeah, he's Ishan 10, but it is still just a reach only with potential for a Dora. Morovo still Ishan. He's in Ishan 10 for a 1,000 point hand, so he's got some progress there. But yeah, like, I feel he'd fold if anyone reaches. Trayton calls here. I'm guessing he wants to have his Tenpai for the end of the round. He's very much giving up. He has no Yaku otherwise, unless he gets again a 6-0. But so while he is technically he is in Tenpai, he cannot win with it at the moment as he has no Yaku. We have a pawn from Rariel who is also trying to end up in Tenpai, I assume. Morovo doesn't look like he's going to get there. He seems to be folding or avoiding dealing in. We get a pawn from J Cakes. However, he's still Ishan 10. Trayton has to decide whether to throw the Dora here, which is a bit of a shitty thing. Luckily, it gives J Cakes Tenpai. Oh, geez, it gets everyone Tenpai at this rate except for Morovo. No, everyone was Tenpai in the end, never mind. So, East 1 ends up with no exchange of points. We are now in East 1-1, where the Dora is the Hatsu, or the Green Dragon. Of which we see none at the moment. We do see a pair of the Red Dragon in Rariel's hand, as well as some edge ones. He could push a Chanta here. It's unlikely, but overall not a bad starting hand. Very much Tanyao hand from Trayton over across from us. I believe he is 2 Shanten at the moment. J Cakes, again, decent shapes. Potential for Pinfu here, but a few middleweights to deal with. But also not much value. It's a bit hard to get some value without the Dora in with his hand. Morovo manages to get a closed triplet of his wind north. So he is making some progress. He is now Ishan 10. However, it would be a reach, or it would be a north only, or a reach north if he makes it that far. Um, J Cake's making progress. He's dropped his edge weights. He is now in a much more healthy position for Tanya. I believe he's still 2 shan 10, however. Um, ooh, Morovo does hit Tempai. Is he going to reach? He does not. He stays quiet, waiting on a 7, and gets it straight away for 1,300 points. I was going to say 2,600, didn't reach. So Morovo taking a slight lead early on. We are now in East 2. The Dora is the 4 pin, of which we can see 2 in Trayton's hand, who also has a pair of South and North. So a nice starting hand for him. However, he has nothing he can really call for Yaku, so he's still a bit reliant on wall draws. J-Cake's hand, he just doesn't seem to be getting a lot of luck. He's got some nice shapes here, but again, not much in the way of value. He can use the door if it comes. It fits well with his 5 pin, but yeah. Morovo has the pair of white dragons. He's got a few pairs sitting here. He's got 3 pairs. So we need to see what exactly he deigns to do with them. J-Cakes has thrown away his 5 pin, so his 2-sided weight on a Dora, if he drew the Dora, is gone, but he can still use it with a 2 pin. And I guess he has a chance of a Sanshoku in the 2-3 area, potentially. Again, a bit of a stretch. Rariel is pushing a Chanta, it looks like here. I mean, yeah, it's unlikely to get a Kokshi. So yeah, Chanta seems to be the order of the day. Maybe he'll get a Sanshoku in the ones. It's unlikely at this point. But a Chanta Nomi wouldn't necessarily be too bad, particularly if he can do it closed. Ooh, that 1 pin is nice. But it does give him the risk of drawing the Dora and losing his Chanta. We have the Haku the white both in Morovo and Regal's hand, so unless one of them drops it, neither of them will be finishing that triplet, and they'll be resigned to using pairs. J-Cakes is still making slow progress, but again, it does not seem to be his day today. He seems to be having not much luck from the tiles. Rariel does pawn that west, taking him into East Shan 10 for a Chanta. However, he does need that 1 pin for Chanta. If he gets the 4 pin, he will be in a world of footy 10. Well, it won't be footy 10. He won't have a Yaku, so unless he goes for the Haku, which we can see he won't get unless Morovo drops it. Morovo seems to be heading towards a Chitoi with 5 pairs at this point. Yeah, I mean, it's unlikely he'll get a Toy here, so he's probably pushing for that Chitoi. Still only 2 on 25, so not the greatest score, but still something, particularly when the scores are right next to each other. What have we got? We got 2 Dora now in Trayton's hand. I was going to say potentially a Tanya, but it's not. It's more likely to be a Pinfu. But he does need that 3 mon. If he gets the 3 or 6 so, then he's be a Reach Dora 2, which is also not a bad result, particularly for dealer. We get a Reach from J-Cakes. He hits Tempai. He's waiting on the 3 pin for a Reach Sanshoku. So that is what, 3 Han? So 7 7. Sorry, not 7 7, 5 8. He's not dealer. 5 5 2. Excuse me, I'm getting my scorings wrong. He does sumo it, giving him, I'm pretty sure that's a Mangan. Yep. He gets the Uradora from Mangan, which sends him into a decent first, which he needs. He needs to extend this lead even more now if possible. We have our Dora as the 8-mon, of which we can see none at this point. A few honors paired up. We have Morovo with a pair of Norths, which is not his wind, unfortunately. Trayton had a pair of Haku, which he's just pawned so he now has Haku as a Yaku. He does have a pair of Wests, which is also not his wind. But at this point, he's got his hand point. He's got his Yaku, so he just wants to try and win. He might try and push for a Honitsu and Manzu with the characters, but we shall see. What have we got? J Cakes' hand is looking very pairy. Is that 4 pairs? No. I mean, a Chitoi with a Dora, if he can get it, won't be too bad. But yeah, Chitoi's never a fun hand to try and aim for when you only have 4 pairs. Particularly when you don't have much options for anything else. He's technically got a few other cases, but he'd end up with a Champon weight or a pair weight as well. So we see Trayton pushing for that Honitsu, so he would get Honitsu Haku for 3,900 points if he was to get that. Morovo makes progress in his hand. He is now, I think he's still 2 Shanten, sorry. But he has the extended triplet. I don't know. Nobatan, I'm not sure what it's called exactly, of the 5, 6, 7, 8 so. Ruriel is sitting at, again, some difficult blocks and not much value. He does have a Dora, but he does have some difficult blocks to fill, or just lack of blocks in general. He gets a second Dora there, which is very nice for him. He's in a much better position since I said that. However, Morovo pushes even further forward to a possible Ipeko here. Pinfu Ipeko would be a nice push for him. J Cakes. Ooh, we get the pawn from Trayton. Trayton his Tempai, waiting on a 1-2-mon, one of each of which is in the wall. J Cakes has to now consider if he continues to push. He goes for Tanyo. Morovo draws the 1. He doesn't want to throw that into the discards of Trayton, which looks very much like a Honitsu. So we might see Morovo bailing from here on. And Morovo draws the other 1 as well. So Trayton's weight is now dead unless either J Cakes or Morovo deal into him. J Cakes is making decent progress with his hand, but again, he's still on Ishan 10, and he has to consider Trayton's Honitsu. However, it's not likely he'll be throwing the 2-3, but he would be in. He's not like he's gonna be throwing that 2-mon. Trying to see exactly. Okay, so we get Morovo having to make another choice here. He's technically in Tempai, but yep, no, he's done. He's now waiting on a 3-mon. However, he does not have a Yaku. So if someone is to throw the 3-mon, of which there's only 1 and it's in J Cake's hand, he would not be able to win off of it. Progress. J Cakes moves ever forward. He is now Ishanten, potentially for a Pinfu Ipeko. Sorry, no, it wouldn't be Pinfu. It would just be a Ipeko. We get a reach from Ruriel, waiting on a 5-8. Looks like so. A reach Dora 2, potentially Dora 3. Oh, sorry, it's also a Sanshoku as well. So that's at least a Mangan, potentially more. However, actually, no, there are still 2 8s in the wall. The dead wall seems to have eaten some of the 8s, and he sumos it for, it might even be a Baimon. If he gets an Ura. It does not, it is still a Baimon, I'm sorry, I miscorrected. So that's 16,000 points for Ruriel. The Hote, I think he had, or Haite, sorry. So, yep, no, that is a Baimon, putting him clearly into first and knocking J Cakes straight back to 25k, unfortunately. J Cakes does a quick pawn of the south, he has a Dora in hand. He might be pushing for a quick few points. But losing his dealership that way is going to be rough, particularly since he would have paid, twice as much as the other two. Morovo sitting with very nice shapes, however no Dora, but Tanyao Pinfu is not bad. Rariel sitting with some nice Manzu shapes, has a Dora, again, could push for a few things here. He could push for Kitsukan. I was going to say he could push for Sanchoku in 789, but he's just throwing away the 8 pin there, so not likely. He looks like he's probably going to go for Ikitsukan here in the Manzu, so Ikitsukan Dora 1. Trayton is in Tenpai now for an Atozuki Hatsu. Morovo hits Tenpai, reaching on a 5-8 pin, which will give him a Reach Pinfu Dora for 3,900 points. We get the Hatsu coming out, going to Trayton for 1k only, or 2k if you count Morovo's Reach Stick. That doesn't quite put Trayton into third place, but he is just behind Morovo. We now have the Dora of the 5-star, of which only J-Cakes has. J-Cakes has had some decent shapes in here, and he's got a Dora, so this could be a hand that he could turn into something, hopefully. Morovo getting up a few pairs, a pair of the Hatsu, a pair of his own Wind. He could easily call this for a quick 2k. Potentially Dora as well if he gets that way, but the Dora would have to be a Chi. Rariel, some decent shapes, pairs. He's got the Haku as well. So again, not a high scoring hand, but potentially a quick one. We have a Tenpai now for someone. Wait, what did I miss the Tenpai? Trayton is in Tenpai, waiting on a 1 so. Or sorry, now this 147 man. So he held off his reach because he didn't want to have the edge weight. It is a reach not Pinfu. However, J-Cake steals straight into it, which is going to be painful. However, and there's an Uradora for 5,200 points, putting Trayton into second place and knocking J-Cakes down to fourth. We move on to South 2. J-Cakes' troubles continuing. We see one Dora in Trayton's hand. However, the rest of his shapes seem a bit shaky. He's got 1 or 2 finished, but he does have a bit of work to be doing there. J-Cakes seems to having a decent Manzu hand, Manzu shapes. He could potentially even go for Chinitsu if he would like to. And he draws another one there as well. Morovo making progress with some nice shapes and the pair of Hataku. Likely a Tanyao hand here, but that's about it. There's no Dora. Oh, Tanyao if he doesn't have the Haku. If he takes the Haku, it's 1 Haku and 1,000 there. Either way, it's likely to be a 1,000 point hand. 2 if he manages to get a Dora in there. Rariel, probably looking to get that Chun, but again, not much value otherwise. So maybe 1,600, sorry, 1,500 or so. No, 1,300, sorry. Trayton making progress. He still has that edge weight to deal with in the 7-9 pin. But he is Ishan 10 now with potential of Ipeko as well. J-Cakes has managed to get rid of everything but his Manzu, so he is now in a potential Manzu Chinitsu situation, as well as an Ikitsukan if the tiles fall correctly for him. Morovo does get a Dora, so he is now in Tenpai, waiting on a 7 pin for a 2,000 point hand. There are no 7 pins visible at the moment, so they must all be in the wall. Trayton draws a second one. Oh, and J-Cakes throws that straight into Morovo's hand. Not what he wanted with that hand. We go into South 3. J-Cakes has a dealership. He really wants to get some points here. Tanyo starting hand, it looks like. Potential for Dora to be included as well. So decent starting hand, something you'd want. Morovo having again some decent shapes. He's now in sorry, not Ishan 10. He's in Tushan 10 now and has a Dora as well. Rariel is sitting at, again, lots of decent shapes this time around. A few 2As. He seems to be going for an open Tanyao here. Trayton is a bit more of a slower hand, a few pairs. He's got a pair of his own wind, not in the way of Dora. So Trayton's probably got the worst hand here at the moment. But, it's not nothing. Morovo gets to Ishan 10. Looking to get a quick 1,000 point hand. J Cakes makes some progress. I believe he is now Ishan 10. Again, he's very little value that's not Tanya at this point. He might get a... Oh, that's a bit of frustrating getting the 4 on there. Not much progress in hands at this point. Ooh, that is progress for J Cakes. He is now Ishan 10 properly. We have a Tempai for Morovo waiting on a 3-pin. And he's got the 6-pin waiting in there, so it's potential people might throw against him, but it is a small hand. J Cake's getting the 4 waiting on a 3-6 pin here, so we now have the 3 and the 6 pin for a Tanyao potential Dora if he gets the 3 pin. Morovo has to decide what he does here. If he pushes the 9 or folds, he folds. We see 3 of the 6s and 1 of the 3s. We still don't see many of the Dora, which is an interesting thing. Sorry, someone is waiting. Sorry, we have a Tempai from Rariel who's waiting on the 7-mon. So I'm trying to figure out who's waiting on what. We have a 5-so wait on Trayton for a Chitoy. So we actually have most, except for Morovo who's folding, everyone's in Tempai. The game seems determined to get Morovo into Tempai. Rariel breaks his Tempai there. As does Trayton. People not wanting to deal into the dealer here. Rariel draws another Dora, who definitely doesn't want to throw that into the dealer. We still have 2 Dora in the wall and 1 6-pin, 1 Dora in the wall and 1 6-pin. That is Tempai for Rariel and gets it straight away from Trayton for a 9,000 point hand. We are now in South 4. Rariel is in first quite commandingly. It's going to be a battle for second between Trayton and Morovo. J Cakes could still potentially snatch a second, but at the same time, we need to see. J Cakes' luck has not been the best at this point, so we just need to see if he can do it. And his starting hand, he's got a Dora, he's got some decent shapes. It might work. He's got quite a potential for Pinfu here, so reach Pinfu Dora. But he needs another point somewhere. Like if he can shift to Tanyao as well, that might be good enough for him. Morovo as dealer is going to want a few points. He's got some decent blocks here. He could pawn the east for things. I think he's Tushan 10 currently. Rarely has made a quick call looking for an open Tanyao, who is now in Ishan 10. Sorry, my mistake. Tempai now, waiting on a 3-6 pin. 3 of which are in the wall. 1 6-pin and 2 3-pins. Trayton will want that 3-pin if it does come. Excuse me. Oh, J-Cake's making some progress here. He is now Ishan 10, I believe. But he does have to throw a 3 if he does. Trayton gets his 3-pin. Riichi's waiting on a 1-4-so. Morovo hits Tempai waiting on a east. However, Rariel does win it, getting 1,000 points at the end to finish it, and the points remained unchanged. Positions remain unchanged, I should say. Rariel is in first, Morovo is in second, Trayton is in third, and J-Cakes is in fourth. Okay, so give me 2 seconds. We still have a few more games to go. Let's take a look at the Koala Lao Sabao and see how that one is going. We'll look at it from Competo's perspective because why not? We have Koala is down currently. In South 3, Lao Sabao is doing a decent first here. With Competo in second and Veggie in third. However, it still could be anyway. It's Competo's dealership. He has 2 Doras. He has a very nice hand here, actually. He has potential for Chitoy here. He's now at Ishan 10 for a Chitoy Dora 2. If he's lucky, I can add Tanya on top of that for a straight Mangan. Lao Sabao has some shapes, a few difficult shapes to fill in. No value, so we might see him fold if anything, if push comes to shove. Koala running into a few issues here and there. Again, it looks to be Ishan 10, but he needs that Dora. What sec did we just hit? No, that was just a shift in things for Competo. We get a pawn of south to Veggie from Koala. Veggie is looking for a quick 1,000 point hand, it looks like. He probably wants to try and push for second in the last round. Competo now gets a triplet of the 6 pin. Needs to decide whether he is going to pursue that or no, he's not. He's going to try and keep his Chitoy chances alive. I'm a little curious why he decided to keep I guess he decided for the 1-so because it's more likely to come out and not try and push for the Tanyo. Lao Sabao, again, not making much progress with his hand. People seem to be stalling a bit in some cases. Koala has dropped his Haku, so seems to be going for a Tanyao. He's got 2 Dora as well. So Totoro's hand, or Koala's hand, is looking quite dangerous actually right now. He does need that 4-so though, or 2 4-so now. We have someone waiting. We have Lao Sabao actually in tempo waiting on a 4-so. However, Koala's gotten it. Koala is waiting on a 4-7 man for a decent hand. Now, if Lao is pushing this, he would actually be disaster for Lao. And he does. This is going to shake up the scores a lot. That's going to be a Mangan. Yeah, it's 8k point swing. It puts Koala back into contention, and it actually knocks now Lao down to second place in the last hand. So he can't even win a quick one here to finish it all. Since he is the dealer, the game will continue. So he needs to probably win a bigger hand and hope that he can, pile on a few points. Excuse me. We have so Lao's got 1 Dora in his hand, but not much connected to it. The 8 man is the Dora. Veggie has a pair of South, which is a double Yaku to him. It's both the round and seat wind, and a few other pairs, but no Dora. But still, the 2 Han from South is probably enough value for him to push for something. Koala's hand, again, looking decent. He is now Ishan 10, it looks like, but not much in the way of value. I'm not sure if he'd push this with no value at this point. He might. He might try and shift to a Tanyao here. Yes, he does show the 9 pins, hoping to go for Tanyao, I think. Competo's hand, he's got the pair of the Chuns. He's got a Dora that's floating there. So he's making some progress. That gets him closer. He chucks the Dora. So he's looking at a 1,000 point hand here. I mean, he is first. Getting a quick hand here does give him that. We have Veggie getting to Ishan 10 with 3 Han, a closed Hatsu, and the double South. He is now Tempai waiting on a 4-7 man. There are 2 7s and 1 4 still in the wall. Lao Sabao is still, I think he's Ishan 10. Kompeto ends up pawning that chun, getting to Ishan 10. Ishan? Yeah, Ishan 10. No, that's not quite Tempai, sorry. Needs to decide what he's doing here. Disaster would be if he cuts the 4-5 pin. Since almost any deal in here would actually knock him into last place. Not last, sorry, into second place. Lao Cheese getting him Tempai, waiting on a 4-6 pin. So the 4 pin being heavily coveted. Kompeto does get to Tempai, waiting on a 5-8 so. Of which there's 1 8 in the wall. There's a 7 from Koala. He doesn't throw it. There's the 4 from Kompeto. If he pushes, he does. It goes to... Oh, we have a Tamahane on. I apologize. I thought it wasn't. So that is a 1,500 points to Lao Sabao. Apologies, I thought we had double run on, but apparently it's a Tamahane. So we are still in South 4. Lao Sabao retakes the lead, which is where he wants to be. However, Kompeto only needs, a 2-han 40 hand or a 3-han 30 to get over into first place. So yeah, it's definitely... Sorry, we have a quick Tempai. Yeah, everyone loves head bump. We actually have the World Reach Championship account watching us here. I now have the exact reason to be completely nervous. But yes, no, it is a head bump. I think you find usually a lot of tournament rules will use head bump. A double run can really throw things out and isn't always avoidable. It does give Lao his first place for now, and he's looking to push, I'm guessing, for a Honitsu here. Sorry, I've been neglecting the hands a little bit here. We have a wait on the 4-7 pin from Lao, actually. Actually, Lao is in Tempai waiting on a 4 pin. The 7 pin will not get him a Yaku, so he needs the 4 for an Ikitsukan only. So he's looking for a quick win to try and just keep the things rolling. Oh, and he gets it from Koala. He doesn't have to worry about that footy 10. He gets another 1,500 points or 1,800 points for the first continuance. Moving into South 4-2. Lao now has a 4,000 point lead on Kompeto. Koala is that little bit further down. But yeah, second and third could still go any way, and if Koala gets big enough hand, he could still get second, or if it's big enough, even first. Particularly since Lao is dealer. I believe it's 2012. I think a Haneman Sumo might actually be enough for Koala. We have the door of the 5-man here. Lao Sabao has 1. However, his shapes are a little not great. He does have the pair. He does have the pair of the Haku though, which is quite useful. So he is now in 2-shot 10, I believe it is. And where are we going? We then have Veggie, who has got some okay shapes. He is Ishan 10. For a potential Pinfu Dora 1 hand, which is not too bad. He's actually got a decent acceptance there. And Koala's hand, again, he also has a pair of Haku, so we might actually see both Koala and Lao getting walled out of this if they're both using that for their Yaku. Koala has potential to shift to Chanta, however, especially with that draw. He is technically in Tempai waiting on a 7-man, but has no Yaku. We have Veggie is not made any progress in the last 5 draws, which must be frustrating for him. Lao hits Ishanten, that looks like. But yeah, he's not going to get the Haku, I don't think, and I don't think Koala's going to get the Haku, so we might see a bit of a wall out. Wall out here. I think wall out is actually a term that came, or at least I first heard from SBT from the Adelaide group. But it is, yeah, a drawn hand, so we might be heading towards that. Veggie seems to be the. Oh, never mind. Koala gets Tempai for a Chanta. Waiting on a 7-man, 3 of which are in the wall. Lau follows up by hitting Tempai of his own. Waiting on a 4-7, so however, he doesn't have a Yaku. Veggie does get Tempai, and he reaches. Throwing this 6 there. Yeah, okay. I guess he just wants the points at this point. He wants to try and get that second place, or even knock it off Lau. He is waiting on a 5. He throws the 7, which the Koala wins. Unless he hits some Uradora, that's not going to be enough. It is not. It's 5-8, but it will shake up the standings. Lau will get first. Kompeto is second. Koala nicks into third place, and Veggie drops into last with that last deal in, unfortunately. And that is the end of the third round. I will get my scores to start updating. Hopefully they will update shortly. But Lau will be well ahead in first place at this point, I believe. And he has just to, hopefully not have too many issues in his last game. Koala will also keep second. So at this point, it looks like we'll probably have Koala and Lau qualifying, unless they have disastrous last games. SBT and Nosti are still playing. There is one game left. Okay. Let's take a look at this one and see how it goes. They are in South 2. Okay. This is going to be a while. Sorry, it's going to be a while, and the fact of this round is going to be a while. So, we are now in this one. Ecoist, Cheese, Nosti, and SBT. Currently, Nosti is well out in front, and everyone else is kind of clustered back behind. We are in South 2, though, so anything can still change. Oh, sec. Okay, apologies. Apparently Lao Sabao is actually a sub in this, so he cannot qualify for the teams. He is just filling in to make the numbers, as someone had to pull out. So it is likely to be, if he is first, it will be ranks 2, 3, 4, and 5 that will qualify. So yeah, that's the current perspective on that. So this current game, as we're in, we have the 9-pin Dora, of which SBT has 2. He is Ishanten. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm right. It might not be Ishanten, sorry. Cheese does hit Tempai, though, for Honitsu only. Sorry, Honitsu Chun. He is waiting on a Hatsu. However, he might shift that here. What are you doing, Cheese? Yes, he does. So he's now waiting on a 258 for a Honitsu Chun, which is the 3,900. Actually, no, that's going to be 5,200 points, I believe. 4-8. Actually, no, it might not. It depend on which tile he gets. That might be just short of the 40 Han. We have Nosti in decent shapes. A few pairs. He's probably avoiding dealing into cheese at this point. We're at the end of the hand. Players are more likely to worry about dealing into cheese than their own hands, I feel. Oh, unlucky for cheese. He would have summoned on that if he kept the Hatsu. However, taking the 3-way weight was likely the better choice. So we move into South 3 with Cheese as the dealer, trying to come back out of last place. Um, oops, probably wasn't meant to say that about low, but anyway. Sorry, so South 3. Sorry, I'm having a few issues with my Discord at the moment. I think Discord streamer mode is messing with me. Anyway, South 3, Cheese's dealer. We have the Chun as the Dora. Yep. Which Equus has just discarded. We have one out from SBT as well. We have Cheese with decent shapes, probably wanting to push for the excuse me. I've just been given a hot drink, which I think my throat needs. So we are sitting at South 3 Echo West's shape, looking at a Tanyao hand. I think he's actually Shanten. No, not quite. To Shanten. Now he's Shanten. For a Tanyao only. Nosti's not quite getting there. He's still struggling a bit with a lot of those pairs. He might get Chitoi if he gets a bit further. SBT looking at a Tanyao. Decent shapes. Quite likely a Pinfu as well. Depends a bit on what he draws. And yeah. Oh, do we see Nosti going for Chitoi here? Apologies on this one. Okay. Okay. Sorry, again, Discord issues that I'm trying to fix. We have a Tenpai here for SBT, waiting on a 2/5 mon. He now reaches for a Tanyao. Wait a minute. No, it wasn't SBT. My apologies. SBT is now waiting on a 4/7 pin. The 2/5 mon is actually Equest's weight. However, both cases, SBT is looking at a Tanyao only. So reach Tanya for 2,600 points. Equests would be 1,000 points because he's open. So he does not get Pinfu. Cheese is coming close. He does draw the 5 and reaches himself, waiting on a 3-so. So 3 people Tenpai here. Nosti trying to not deal into anyone at this point. He does deal into Equest though, which is arguably his best result. Only giving away 1,300 points and moving the game on into South 4. Now, you can question whether that was a deliberate feed from Nosti or not. Maybe, maybe not. If it is, great play. If not, he lucks out and only having to pay probably the smallest amount there. We are in South 4. Nosti is dealer. If he wins, he will still keep going. We do not have Agare Yame. So Nosti, the Dora is the 6-man, of which we can see 2 in Equest's hand. He has a few pairs, but not much in the way of a Yaku. So he's got some value, but it's a bit hard to fill out the hand. Maybe he can get an Ipeiko if he's lucky. Cheese is sitting on not much value. He doesn't have a Dora. He's got a triple of West, which isn't his wind, so it doesn't help him that much. But it's getting closer. That 7 lets him accept a Dora if he comes to it. Nosti's hand, again, not much in the way of value, but a few pairs. a bit hard to really finish. He's probably not going to push too hard here. He has no real reason to. He's got a 20,000 point lead over second. He'll probably just play it safe and try not to deal anything to anyone. SBT has potential for Shosangen, or three little dragons, or worse, if he gets lucky, three big dragons. But he'll probably, is he going to pawn this? He does. So he's going for a Honitsu here, so he'll get at least a Honitsu, possibly with two Yakuhai on the side. Interesting chi there. He doesn't have a pair now, or at least he has to use a chun for his pair. But it does mean if he calls the chun, which is two of which are in Chi's hand, so it's harder to get now, he could potentially wait on the Hatsu for that Shosangen. But getting that chun out of Chi's hand is unlikely, so he would have to draw the Hatsu. Which is not impossible. It looks like there's still two in the wall. Sorry, I just saw Viet's, or I guess it's Nam's. Sorry, so I think it's yeah, he's known for his dad jokes. So, God, bit of levity for all of us. We do have a break from that Hatsu from SBT, so he has given up on the chance of the Shosangen, and is going just for the Honitsu chance here. We have, I think it's 4 Dora in Equest's hand at the moment. He is Ishan 10 at the moment. He could potentially count that, I think. I apologize for not seeing that earlier. Cheese is Ishan 10. Again, Tenpai, sorry, waiting on a chun or a 9. So probably a 9, but he can't win on a 9, and he's not likely to get the chun from SBT, so he might be stuck there unless he reaches. Which he does, to Mugiri reach. We have Nosti deciding what he wants to do here, what he wants to throw. Playing it safe, doesn't want to go anywhere. SBT pushing forward. Echo Est drawing that 9. He cons, and then Eudora's 6-pin. He throws a 9 into cheese. But that does break the Ippatsu, so he does not get Ippatsu from that. And misses all the Uradora, so that's only 2,600 point hand. Finishing the round, giving us the result of Nosti first, Echoist second, SBT third, and Cheese unfortunately only ends up in 4th place after that. Okay. I think we might have scores to update, so I will see if we can get that to update. Or they'll be, they're going to start posting shortly. So yeah, we start seeing Lao hitting first place. Well, cementing first place. Rariel has jumped up into second. Koala has dropped. Nosti has jumped up into third. Worth noting about Nosti, actually. Nosti made it to the final table for the individual championships last year in the International Online Reach Mahjong Championships. So Australia has represented it not only by winning the team tournament, but also being on the table for the final table in the individual tournament. Nosti was also on the team last year. I believe the team was Nosti 5. I said it earlier and I forgot which one it was. Nosti 5, SBT, and Cheese, maybe? I'm sorry, I'll have to check that one. However, we are lining up for the last games to be starting in about 5 minutes. So we have about a 10-minute gap until the next set of games. what are we looking at in terms of viewer numbers? For all not being too bad, we're starting to push, I've been averaging around 12, we're up to about 19 now, so welcome anyone who's joined us in the last hour or so. This is the Australian qualifiers for the International Online Reach Mahjong Championships, which is to decide the four players who will play on the Australian team in the tournament in November. The tournament is run by the Korean Mahjong League. So the details will be on their site. However, the tournament runs qualifications on the 7th of November. The team final individual tournament are on the 14th of November. If you want more information, please check out their site. They're kml.or.kr. There is a number of teams. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like 19 teams, 19 countries are participating, I should say, including ones like Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam, the United States, Canada, Austria, Argentina. So teams from all over the world will be playing in that. Will be quite interesting to watch. If possible, I will try and stream those as well. We will see how things go. I believe the timing might make things a bit difficult. So yeah, we shall see. So we also have to figure out who we're going to watch for the last game. Where are we? No, I don't want that one. I have too many things open. So a game between Lau, Rariel, Nosti, and Koala. Is that going to exist? No, Koala is playing there. Nosti and Lau are on the same table with J Cakes. We have Rariel playing against SBT, Competo, and AKTK. We have Ronald, Veggie, Trayton, and Cheese. Koala is playing Champion, Equest, and Morovo. But yeah, if anyone has any particular player they would like to view, particularly out of the top 4, 5, 6, 7, or the top half, I should say, let me know and I'll take it into consideration. I will take a 2-minute break and be right back. Okay, we are back. Well, I am back at least. The games are just about to start, so we have a 5-minute wait until things begin, for us at least, or at least until we can watch. In terms of which game to watch, I mean, Lao Sabao versus Nosti could be interesting, but I feel like we just watched that anyway. We watched Nosti, and then anyway. We've seen a lot of Cheeks Chun. It's Rariel playing. Rariel is playing SPT, Competo, and yeah, it could be an interesting one as well. Rariel's game. Morovo, Koala, Champion in 8th and Echoist in 13th. Wait, no, sorry, that's not their things. That's their champion in 8th, Echoist in 5th. Echoist. We might watch. Actually, we might watch Morovo, Koala, Champion, Equist. Yes, we've had a lot of Koala, but Koala, Equist, and Champion are all potentially vying for a spot here, depending on other results. Koala's technically got one. Equist could easily get it there as well, but these people are mostly on the border, so unless I get told off again, we'll watch that one, or unless anyone else speaks up and say they want a different one. We'll go from there and see what kind of I don't want to call it drama because it's not drama, but kind of, gyakuten. How do you say gyakuten in English? Turnarounds, comebacks. We can see showing up. Okay, so we are sitting at a couple minutes left to go. We're looking at another 2 minutes. The games are popping up on Tenho for us to take a look at. So let's watch from Equist's perspective. He is a starting dealer, so even better. We have 4 minutes still to start on this. 4 minutes to go until we start, I should say. So if you need a drink, if you need the bathroom, whatever, please go and do that and come back. We will still be, well, I'll still be here. We as the collective we, I suppose. I don't think I'm allowed to use the royal we unless I'm actual royalty. Maybe I am, but yeah. So yeah, we get to see what's going to happen here. The top 4 will qualify to be the representatives of Australia in the International Online Reach Mahjong Championships. I keep wanting to say the Online International Reach Mahjong Championships. It's not. It's IORMC. And we are waiting for the final one. It is the best overall score after 4 hanchan. The UMA is, I believe, 10-20, 20-10 with an oka. So a bonus for first place. It might be 15-10, I'm not sure, sorry. I have some of these rules and some of them have gone walkabout in the process as well. So apologies for that. But all the rules are as close as possible to how the main tournament will be. So please check the IORMC rules for clarity. I am trusting Totoro has set it up correctly. We are upset. Okay. Thank you, Troll of Nova. Gyakuten upset. Well, I feel like the term in this context definitely upset. I think in other contexts it can mean slightly different things because language. But yes, no, upset is exactly the word I wanted. So we will see if we can get any upsets here. Whether even Champion can sort of eke out a huge win and, sneak his way into top 4. And we are just moments away from the start of this. Start of this 4th and final hanchan. So for these players, we have Koala from Sydney. Echoist is also from Sydney. Morovo is our lone Canberran. And Champion, I'm not actually sure who champion is in Discord. Apologies. I'll figure out where champion's from. I'm going to guess if it's a person I think it is, they might be an Australian. Sorry, might be an Australian. Yeah, they're playing in an Australian qualifier. Of course they're Australian. Great work, Osbald. Okay, yes, no, they are a Melburnian player. Um, so we do have, one Canberran, one Melburnian, and two Sydney, and we are into the fourth and final hanchan. The Dora is west. Echo West is the dealer with some nice shapes. That's a Tushan 10, I think. If it isn't, it is now. Morovo is sitting with some okay shapes, not much in the way of value, but sometimes you just deal with what you can, especially without the red fives. Champion's shapes not great, but he does have the pair of Haku, which is quite nice. Koala's also sitting with some nice shapes and a pair of doors, apologies, so he's in a very good position here. He has a possibility for Ikitsukan, Dora 2, and potentially even Pinfu. And he has Ishan 10 for that. If his ideal draw would be the 8, the 8 pin, alternatively the 6 pin. Both of those would be very good draws for him. Which would be a great start for him. He really wants to try and cement his position at the top. Not position at the top, but he wants to try and make sure he does qualify. He's still on that edge there. We get a pawn of the Haku for champion, who is probably trying to push for a quick 1,000 point hand. And makes further progress towards that. He is now, I believe that's Tushan 10. Echoist is still sitting with some nice shapes and a few pairs, but not much progress in the last couple draws. The one to watch is definitely going to be Koala for this one. See if he gets that 6 pin or that 8 pin, and even if he potentially calls it, if champion happens to draw the 8 or drop the 6 here. So we'll see, does he call it? He does. So he is now in Tenpai for a Ikitsukan Dora 2. Echoist has one of them. Oh, wow. 2 of the wedding tiles get drawn straight after hits Tenpai. That's rough. There is one more left in the wall. Echoist does deal it in, though, for 3,900 points. So it's a good start for Koala, not a good start for Echoist. Koala being 4th place, Echoist in 5th. They are really going to be battling it out for the places here. We have Morovo as a dealer. Morovo has a bit of a rough situation here where he's down like negative 33, so he's basically playing for pride at this point. Champion could potentially do well, but he needs a decent first. He does have 2 Dora in his starting hand, though, which is quite nice. Not much else value, and the shapes are a bit here and there, but it's not too bad. Looking at Koala, he has a pair of the Roundwind East and a few decent shapes. So again, he could potentially go for a quick 1,000 points. 2,000 points, he has a Dora in his hand, my bad. Echoist with some nice shapes, but no value, but he can accept a Dora if it does come. And then we have Morovo with, a Dora and not much else. Oh, never mind. He's now got that Hatsu. So, potentially 2,000 points. Sorry, dealer, 2,900 points. He gets a step closer there. Excuse me. Oof. Sorry, I just needed a bit of a drink there. So I think we've got Echoist at Ishan 10 now, for what was going to be potentially Pinfu, but now is more likely to be an I don't know. It's a bit more of a up in the air now. I don't think he's technically Ishan 10 anymore. And he's back to Ishan 10. I arguably a better one. We get Koala pawning that. He is now in Tenpai, waiting on a 1-4 pin for a 2,000 point hand. East and 1 Dora. We have Morovo pushing for a quick hand to keep his dealership. He is still Ishanten. He draws Koala's winner, doesn't throw it though, so he's still alive. Equist is still trying to hit Tenpai and avoid dealing into the process. Koala gets a chance to shift, doesn't do much, but makes it look like his hand is still progressing. There is Morovo's Tenpai, which does deal into Koala for that 2,000 points. So, ideal start for Koala, 2 quick wins, getting him, back up over 30,000 points. Another quick pawn here for a hand that has 1 Dora and a Chun in it already. But the Dora being the 1-so is a bit harder to use, so might have a bit of trouble there. We have Equorist starting with 4 pairs in his hand, so not much value, but high potential of something like Chitoi or Toitoi if he wants to go for it, particularly because he's got the West Wind there, which is his. Morovo sitting at, again, a few pairs, only 3, but he does have the round wind of East in his hand. But again, no Dora. And Champion, the dealer, is sitting on some nice shapes, potential Tanyao, but he does have that 1-3 pin to deal with. But we might see a Tanyao from him. Her, I'm not actually sure if that's from them, I should say. Equist does pawn the 8, so they are going for that Toitoi option, which would be somewhere in the area of 5,200 points if he gets it. Assuming I'm counting that food correctly, might not be. Morovo passes on pawning that East there, possibly hoping for the second one. We have Koala slowly making progress, but still 2 Shanten away, I think, from getting to Tenpai. Champion, however, is making a lot more progress. He can shift quite easy. He is Tenpai, I should say, and Riichi is waiting on a 2 pin for what'll be 2,000 points if he gets it. Koala cheese and is now Ishanten. Equist, again, making progress, but has had to break. He could still get his Chitoi, but not Chitoi, Toitoi, but is running into a few issues with that reach, I think. Who would have thought talking for 4 hours would do a number on you? So apologies, my voice goes a bit. Equist making some more progress towards his Toito. He could call here. No, he does not. He passes on it. Koala's also breaking up some of his groups. Doesn't want to deal into dealer. We have Morovo making progress, but also he's folding as he's throwing his 2 Easts. He's probably just going to play it safe at this point. Everyone seems to be folding. No one wants to deal at this point. All the 2s are now gone with that draw from Morovo. So yeah, I'm guessing we're going to see a drawn hand with Champion as the only person in Tenpai. I mean, I keep saying that, but Morovo's hand seems to be determined to hit Tenpai. Actually, sorry, it is Tenpai now waiting on a 6-man. If he doesn't break it here. He does not, he keeps pushing. So that could come. No, he couldn't, sorry. There's only 1 in Koala's hand and 1 in Equist's hand left. The other one is called by Koala, so will not be coming out. However, it does mean he will likely be in Tenpai at the end of this if he doesn't break it, so we might actually see a 2-person Tenpai result rather than the one I initially suggested. There we go. So that gets Champion and Morovo back up a little bit. Equist, however, does fall that little bit further down. So we are now in East 3-1. Champion keeps his dealership. The Dora is the 7 so. We have a couple pairs sitting here. Koala's got the pair of the Roundwind of East, as well as some of the 9s, so a bit of value, potential acceptance of Dora, but that's about it. Equist has a lot of Tanyo potential here. I think he's actually Ishan 10 for that, for just a Tanyo. We have a call from Koala. He's pushing, I guess, for a quick Atotsuke. He's going to have to call that East. Morovo's hand, bit clunky in shapes, but he does have a Dora there, so potential value. A bit of a stretch, but he might be able to hit a 1-2-3 Sanshoku. Not anymore with the throw of that 2-so though. Champion, however, is looking at a Chitoi, it looks like, which, unless they call here and go for a Tanyo instead. No, they don't. The Chitoi would only be 2 Han unless they reach. It's a Tanyo-ish Chitoi, so yeah, it wouldn't be the greatest of weights, but I mean, as dealer, your reach can in theory. Oh, never mind. He is going for the Toy route, and as called, Koala is now in Tenpai, waiting on the East only. The 9-pin will not get him a Yaku. However, it's possible that players might see his discards and think he's going for an open Tanyo only, and will throw the East as a result. So, not necessarily a bad weight, despite the fact that if he draws the 9-pin, he's going to have a few issues. Morovo trying to, again, getting a bit closer. Tushan 10 now. Champion calls again, getting to Ishan 10 on that Toy hand. We still have 2 Easts in the wall, as well as 1 9-pin. Morovo moves to Ishan 10 here. Yep, throws the 3-pin. Tenpai for Champion, waiting on the south or the 4-pin. 4-pin is dead. There's 1 Equist's hand and 1 called by Koala, but both souths are still in the wall. So we might see a bit of a battle out here between Champion and Koala. Equist gets some progress. It's not quite there. I think it's Ishan 10 still. We still have that 9-pin in the wall to come out at some point, which could potentially cause problems for Koala. There's the south. Equist has it. He doesn't throw it. But Champion sumos it anyway for that Toy only 3,900 points. Keeps his dealership, extends his lead, and moves us into East 3-2. Excuse me. Where the Dora is the 7-pin. We see a few of them out here and there. Morovo has some decent shapes. He's got okay shapes. He's got the Dora, but accepting it. Oh wait, never mind. 8-pin makes it a much easier acceptance. So he's lucky to be a Pinfu Tanyo hand if he's lucky. Pinfu Tanyo Dora. Champion, looking at a bit of a heavy hand. Not a lot of value, so that'd be a bit difficult to finish. Koala, again, looking at a Tanyo hand. Decent shapes here. He's got the nice 3-way in the 2-6 Sozu, and a similar situation in the 2-7 Pinzu, albeit not 3-way. So he's got some nice shapes there, and 1 Dora. So potentially 2,000 points quite easily if he calls. Equist is again also in a good shape. He's at Tushan 10 for a double Dora hand, which is quite nice. Definitely what he needs at this point. Koala does call, going for a quick thing. Champion calls the 3-pin again, going for looking like again going for that Toy, which is a bit of a stretch. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, it might be okay. He's got the 1 Unko in his hand already, the close triplet. He'll need one of those 9s to come out. Excuse me. Koala gets his pair. So it'll be interesting to see what he discards. He discards a 6, so he needs the 3-pin now, which is drawn by Equist, who throws it straight into Koala's hand for a 2,600 points with Continuous's hand. Koala not quite sneaking into first there, but 100 points behind that, but he is now dealership in East 4. Excuse me. The Dora is the 2-pin. We see some Tanya vibes coming from Morovo, though whether he can use that Dora or not still remains to be seen. Champion has a better chance at using the Dora, but also some heavy... No, actually his shapes aren't too bad, to be honest. He could potentially get a number of different possibilities there. Koala's hand, lots of Manzu, some decent shapes. I think he's Ishan 10 at this point with a 3-way in Manzu. So he's looking at a 147 or Manzu or a 5-8 Pinzu for Tenpai. There might be a couple others, apologies, but that's the main ones he'll be wanting for Tenpai. Echoist, we're looking at some decent shapes in the Manzu, but it still has all those honors to deal with somehow or another, which will slow their hand down a bit. Morovo, definitely Tanyao, decent shapes. He's Ishan 10 actually. Champion does hit Tenpai, reaching on the 5-man, waiting on the 8-pin for an Ipeiko, Riichi Ipeiko. Riichi Ipeiko Dora 1, which would actually be a Mangan. Sorry, not Mangan, it would be 340, so that would be 5-8, 5-2. We get Morovo reaching, waiting on a 4-7 pin. However, a lot of those are out already, so we are currently looking at 2 8-pins in the wall. However, 6 of Morovo's weight, I think it's 1 each of the 4 and the 7 are still in the wall. You see Totoro shifting his hand a bit. He's managed to... He's broken his Ishan 10, but has managed to get into a position where he could get back to it. I think he's still Ishan... Yes, not quite Ishan 10, but now he's Ishan 10. So he could potentially get back in there now with an Ipeiko hand, which is quite nice. Oh, never mind. Morovo Tsumo's the 4-pin for a Dora 2. Reach Tanya. See it there. So that'll be a Haneman, putting him well into first place. Which knocks Champion and Koala's battle down into second and third, and Koala taking the dealer penalty there, so knocking him a further 2,000 points down. 2,000 points. Oh, I think Champion had reached, hadn't he? Okay, sorry, I'm trying to do mental math and failing at it. We have the Dora of the 7-man, a quick South Pond from Champion, which is the round win, so he has Yaku and a pair of red Dora in the process. Red dragons in his hand as well to up his value, and the potential to accept the 7-man, so he's looking quite nicely there. We see Koala with a heavy hand. I mean, he's got a Dora potential for Tanya, but the Dora kind of makes it hard. He might just go for a Reach Dora hand, which is a decent style. We've got Echoist with a number of pairs here, as well as, Haku and North, but not much value. So maybe a Toy Toy if he gets it. He does pawn that and seems to be shifting towards a Toy Toy if possible. Morovo looking at what might be a Pinfu only hand, Pinfu Dora. If he gets it, he can accept the 7-man, but he does have to fill in that 3-5 pin gap first. Champion is still waiting for that turn to show up. Is slowly making progress, but yeah. Oh, Koala gets that 4-pin, putting him in Ishan 10 for a Reach Dora, although it will be an inside weight. Echoist doesn't seem to be making a lot of progress. Seems to have dropped the things. Must be going for Honitsu here in the Sozu. Koala seems to be drawing a bit blank here, not having any luck with his draws. We get a reach from Morovo, waiting on a 2-5, which Champion draws but holds on to as it does fit in their hand. Koala draws as well. 8 fits in their hand. Will they keep it or not? They will. They'll break it. So we don't see an Ipatsu here. We see, I think, still 4 in the wall. Excuse me, for Morovo. So there is some progress, and Koala fills out that, but he does have to deal with that Dora still, so still a step away. But Morovo Tsumo is extending his lead even further, with a not quite a manga, a 420, so 1,300, 2,600. Morovo might be trying to push for that massive win he'd need to get into the qualifying zone for this tournament. But he still needs a lot more points to do that, so we shall see. We see a number of pairs here. Pair of East and Koala. Champion having 2 quick calls on South and West. So he has a double South call there, as well as a Dora in his hand, the Dora of 6. So we have a pair of East in Koala's hand, a pair of Haku in Echoists, and a double set of pairs in Morovo of Chun and North. The Champion does another quick call. He is still in Ishan 10, though. He doesn't have his pair, so it remains to be seen if he tries to push for... It's a bit hard to push for Toy Toy at this point, but he'll probably want to try and keep his Dora, if at all possible. Echoist does draw into a closed uncle of, or closed triplet of that Haku, putting him to Ishan 10 for just Haku only. Morovo still sitting on those 2 pairs. We get a Tenpai for Champion deciding to throw the Dora and wait on the 5-so instead. Probably assuming no one's really going to throw the Dora into at this point. We get Koala reaching, waiting on a 2-5 mon for a reach Pinfu Dora. That is a Pinfu, since East is not worth any Fu for him. We're waiting on a 2-5. We can see 4 of them, so there's still 4 in the wall. 1-5 and 3 2s. And he draws it. Really what he needed to get his points back and break Morovo's streak of wins, particularly on Morovo's dealership. He gets an Ura for the Mangan, getting 8,000 points, getting him into a clear second place and getting away from Champion. We then have now South 3, where Champion is dealer and the Dora is the 6-pin. Champion's got some okay groups, but remains to be seen how he fills those out. Koala sitting another Tanyo-ish hand with 4 of the 3 pins, potentially conning them later, as well as 1 Dora. Echoist has a pair of the Roundwind East, as a few other pairs here and there. He does pawn that Roundwind South, I should say, not East, my bad. So he then pawns that South from Champion, looking for a quick 1,000 point hand, I guess, to finish this. Not to finish this, to move this on. He really needs the value, though, at this point. So I wonder whether that South pawn was the best move. If he forces Toy Toy, however, that is a different situation altogether. Morovo has a closed triplet of his Wind North. He's still in Tushan 10, though, but a decent hand in that respect if he can fill it out. Even a Chi Toy at this point, if he can get it. We are sitting at... Koala's hand keeps progressing. Remains to be seen if he cons that 3-pin now that he's got that 4. He might decide to keep the 3 as a triplet and then the 3-4 as a set in itself. Morovo is Tenpai. I missed Morovo's Tenpai, apologies. He is now waiting on a 2-pin only. For a Chitoi Nomi, we get a reach from Champion, waiting on a 3-man, of which there is one left because Echoist has pawned it. Potential for a Chankan, I suppose. But yeah, that's an interesting choice to reach that. I mean, I guess he is dealer though, so. But I feel if he was really aiming for the Chankan, not reaching might have been better there. You're not going to want to try and con on a dealer's turn, but it is the person in 4th place, so it is quite likely they will con. They are in Tenpai waiting on a 7-pin. There is one 7-pin left in the wall. So yeah, it is possible to do it. However, Champion does Tsumo as dealer, giving him no Urda, so 2 KO, getting him just back into 2nd place, 100 points ahead of Koala, into, again, South 3-1. The Dora is the 5-so. Again, a few pairs of relevant honor tiles. Champion has the pair of Haku and no other Dora, but so yeah, it could potentially push a Honitsu here, but that would be a bit of a, again, might be a bit hard, but here we go. Oh, here we'll see. We have Koala with the two Hatsu, possibly with dreams of, 3 dragons of some kind, but unlikely yet. So he throws the Haku, which Champion then pawns. He does have he is Ishan 10. No, sorry, he's not. He's 2 Shan 10. Koala, that is. Echoist is making some progress. He has 2 Dora now. He is Ishan. No, he's 2 Shan 10. Sorry, as well. We have Morovo with that pair of Wests, which don't really help him much, and a few awkward. Like he's got the 7-9 pin as well, so not much value in the hand. But he's probably going to want to protect his first more than anything. We have a long wondering whether Champion was going to chi there. He does, which puts him into Tenpai, waiting on an 8-so for a 1,500 point hand, or a 1,800 point hand at this point, because of the first continuance. We then have the 8-so coming up to Koala. He doesn't throw it, so he keeps it to himself. It does fit his hands, so that makes some sense there. We get Tenpai from Echoist, who reaches, waiting on, what is it? I'm assuming a 3-6. Yeah. No, he doesn't. He goes for the Champon. Apologies. He's waiting on a 5-so or a 7-pin. All of which are in the wall, it looks like. So double Dora, I'm guessing. So reach Dora 2. One of the Doras come up into Champion's hand there. Never mind. Ipatsumo was very much what he needed on the Dora. Haneman, so 3,000, 6,000. That'll knock Champion into 3rd place. Echoist is now in a fighting chance of getting out of last place. In South 4, it is Koala's dealership. He is a good 5,000 points short, 6,000 points short of Morovo. And we have a South Dora, of which one has been discarded already from Champion. Koala's hand is looking decent shape, but also, yeah, this is going to be potentially a low-scoring hand. There's not much in the way of Dora. Koala's might get Pinfu on there. Echoist has got some slightly better shapes. He's potential for Ipeiko. He's actually an Ishan 10 at the moment for a reach Pinfu, or for a Pinfu Ipeiko hand, which would be quite nice for him. I think that's enough. Wouldn't quite be enough for him to get past Champion, unless he Tsumo'd it. We have Morovo with some very nice shapes. I think that's an Ishan 10 now. for Tanya Onomi, but again, without much Dora, that's still a decent amount. He wants to just finish this game. Champion is looking at some decent shapes now. He seems to have come out into a decent position. He is also an Ishan 10, with a potential three-way wait if he draws the 5-mon to hit Tenpai. Koala is two Shan 10? I think it's two Shan 10, sorry. He'll probably want to just try and extend his dealership at this point. But yeah, his hand hasn't moved in a couple turns. Things seem to be stalling for a lot of people. That is Tenpai for Champion. He reaches, waiting on a 2-5-mon for a reach Pinfu, which is, excuse me, that might be enough to get him second if he sumos it, or hits Koala with it. However, we have 3 of his tiles already in people's hands, so there are 5 still in the wall. So it is quite possible he can sumo it. One less in the wall. Echoist keeps it. Well, I assume, yeah, it does keep it. Potential Cheetor here, I suppose. We'll see what happens. Morovo is getting closer. I believe that is an actually, that's Tenpai for him, sorry. He reaches, waiting on a 5-8-mon. So we now have a 2-5-8s are all used. We do have a Tamahane, so if the 5-mon comes out from Koala or Echoist, then Morovo will get the win, not Champion. We have 2 5s in the wall. The 8s are dead, though it could come from Echoist. Never mind, Morovo does sumo it. Ending the game, and wow, sorry, I miscounted that. That's a full Hanemon. So does that knock Koala? No, it doesn't quite knock Koala into the 3rd place. So Morovo comes in first at 45,000 points, Koala at 20,000, Champion at 19, and Echoist at 15,000 points. But yeah, so nice position for Morovo. Might not be quite enough to get him in qualification, but considering the game he had, that was probably the best result for him. And we will see if there are any more games going. There are 2. Who else is high on the list at the moment? Rarial's in second, so we can take a look at Rarial. SBT's down there. Yeah, let's take a look at this one. We'll look at it from AKTK's perspective. We are in South 4. Rarial has reached. Rarial is in 2nd place. AKTK is actually in quite very far in 4th. Rarial sumos, finishes the game right as we get here. I doubt that's going to be enough to get him first, though. That will end the game with positions unchanged. AKTK will be first, Rarial second, and SBT third, with Competo in 4th. So, the last game, we'll watch from Chi's perspective, see how they're going. They are still in South 2, so we have some work still to do. We have a sumo here from Ronald, denying Chi's a win for a 330. So we are now in South 3. Trayton is first and is now dealer. We have Ronald in second and Cheese third, Veggie fourth. The Dora is east, and excuse me. And we shall see what comes of this. So we have Trayton's hand looking at a very much a Manzu hand. Sorry, not Manzu, Sozu hand, so possibly pushing for Honitsu or Jinitsu. Cheese, possibly a... I was going to say possibly a Sanshoku, but I think it's a bit of a stretch with the 578 pin, 579 pin. But he is relatively close. We have Ronald at... Ronald's hand's a bit all over the place. A completed set in the Manzu, but a bunch of honors kind of muddying the waters. He does have a Dora in his hand, though, if he can keep it. But Veggie's just discarded the Dora. Is looking at a slightly better hand. He's actually Ishan 10 now. But it will just be an Ishan 10. Sorry, a Reach Nomi. unless he draws a 7. No, if he draws a 7-1, no, he's broken that. Never mind. Wonder about that. Okay. Sorry, I'm not sure on that decision whether it was a correct one or not. He draws another Dora. That's gonna hurt, having drawn a second Dora after throwing out one. Trayton is not pushing that Honitsu. He seems to be pushing for a Chun or just a Reach. If he can get it. Excuse me. No, looks like it's going to be that Chun. He'll need that Chun to get his Yaku. We have decent shapes for Cheese, who is now in Ishan 10. Is he going to push for the Ipeiko, or is he going to keep the 6-7? No, he's keeping the wider weight, which is probably the better move at this point. He needs to win rather than value. Sorry, I'm just going to double check. Cheese is sitting at the bottom, so he doesn't have many prospects for actually qualifying. But he is last dealer, so he'll probably want to be in a good position for that. Excuse me. So Cheese is sitting on a Tanyao. He does improve his hand. He's now in Ishan 10 for Tanyao Nomi. Ronald is... His hand has improved. He still has a few more places to go here and there. Not the things. We do have a Tenpai from Trayton. He managed to get a pair of the Haku and call it, so he actually has his Yaku. He is waiting on a 6-9, which he gets from Ronald for that 1k or 1,500 points for being dealer. And we move on to South 3-1. So Trayton extending his lead, but at the same time, sorry, I don't have the scores in front of me, and I really should. He needs quite a large score to consider qualifying, so he'll need to do a lot more work beyond this. But it is his dealership, so anything can happen. The Dora is the Chun, of which Ronald has 2 in their hand, and Veggie has 1. Ronald's hand is looking actually quite nice at this point. He is now in Ishan 10, or Pon 10 on that Chun if he gets it. Veggie's hand is looking nice. He does show that Pon, so we get... Yeah, we get a 4-7. No. Apologies, I misread. He's not in Tenpai. He's not in Ishan 10. He's now in Ishan 10. And now in Tenpai. Waiting on a 4-7. So, however, 6 of those are out. There are only 2 more left in the wall. Cheese has got a decent hand coming together. Potential for double nan if you can call it. Another 7 is gone. There's only 1 more in the wall for Ronald to draw. Cheese moves to Ishan 10, I'm assuming. Depending on what he... Yep, Ishan 10. Veggie makes some progress. He has to make a choice if he goes for the 6-7, so he doesn't. He goes for that, which is to his benefits. He doesn't deal in. He's going for a Tanyao hand, it seems. Cheese is also... doesn't make any progress there, unfortunately, but it's slightly better in terms of acceptance. We do get a Tenpai here for Veggie, Ipeiko Tanyao, waiting on a 3-7. So he could potentially get the 3s. There are still 2 in the wall. However, the send comes out. That will go to Ronald due to the head bump rules. So Veggie gets denied again. Dora 3. Yep. So we are now in South 4, Cheese's dealership. He will need to do... He's got a nice starting hand. I think that's Ishan 10. That is still Ishan 10, but even better Ishan 10. 1 Dora dealer. That's exactly what you want to see. Or it's definitely a very good thing to see when you're in this position. We have Ronald in a potential Tanyao hand, but has 2 Doras, so he'll probably want to push and call for that. Potential Chitoy as well. Chitoy might be a bit of a stretch, but we have Veggie going okay. That's actually, no, that's not Tenpai for cheese, my bad. Veggie's making further progress. Oh, Ronald does call, trying to get that Tanyao Dora 2, potentially Dora 3 hand going. Cheese, again, not much progress in his hand. It's got to be frustrating when you really want those points. Veggie draws a Dora to get him to not Ishanten. I think he's 2 Shanten still. Ronald gets to Ishanten and can call the 5-3 so or the 6 mon to get there. That's Tenpai for cheese. Waiting on a 3-6. No, I can't count. 6-9 pin. Of which there are 4 in the wall, 3 9s and a 6. For a Reach Dora 1, so what looks to be 3,900 points, I think. Always here's the 9 from Veggie. Will he discard it? He does. Reach Dora and nothing. So there's a 3,900 points for cheese, getting him into third. He's got quite a ways to go to get to anywhere else. He needs at least a dealer Haneman to get into second, but not impossible. He's again got a decent hand here. Not as great as last time, but still 2 complete groups, a half group and a pair, so it can go somewhere. And he's got a Dora. We have Ronald with some edge tiles again. No Dora. It's going to be a bit hard to complete that one, I feel. A Tanyao hand from Veggie, almost certainly, though he does have that 9 pin to deal with. We have Trayton with a closed triplet of Haku, and a few other decent shapes, so it will be interesting to see if he calls or if he tries to stay quiet. He does have that Dora that he's going to want to be able to use. For the progress for Veggie, he's got a number of pairs there, so again, he's quite decent chance of getting a 2-sided weight, I feel. Cheese gets the 4 mon, throws the 8. He has an Ipeko Ishanten here. Ipeko Dora 1. He could throw the. He doesn't. He's potential of a. He's got a few things could happen here. He could draw a Dora to add the value there. He could throw the Dora if he hits Tenpai elsewhere to try and get Tanyao. Particularly if he draws the 3 mon already. Or he could pair up the 6. Yeah, he's got a number of possibilities basically. Ronald is making some progress. He is now 2 Shanten, I believe. We have a Tenpai from Veggie, who has gotten that 6 pin. It is a 2-sided weight on a 3-6 pin, of which Ronald just draws the 6. However, he will likely keep that. Cheese is probably going to keep pushing. What do we got? We got 3, 6, 1. Oh, Cheese hits Tenpai, throws that 6, waiting on a 1-4 so for a Reach Dora things and gets it from Ronald. That is the best thing. That might even put him to second at this point. Because that'll be a Mangan, unless he hits an Uradora. Oh, geez. Okay, that's definitely put him into second, if not first. Not quite first. So Cheese has come from behind and is... Yeah, we're still in South 4. South 4-2. We have the Dora of Haku. Ronald has 2 of them in his hand. Will we see again a Dora 3 Yakuhai from Ronald? Or will Cheese extend his dealer Rampage? Because he has another nice looking hand here, at least in terms of shapes. Ronald's shapes are a bit more wonky. He's got a floating 8. So he's got the 8-9 pin, he's got the 5-8 man which he's just thrown. So that's gotten a bit better with that 6-so draw. Veggie's looking okay, but again, some difficult shapes and middleweights to fill out. Trayton, same kind of deal. Slightly better, but a bunch of honor tiles that aren't doing much for him. Cheese, again, looking like the best. That is Tenpai for him. He is a Riichi Pinfu. Really going on a rampage here. Assuming he wins this, he is waiting for a 4-7 man, of which 6 are still in the wall. There's one of them gone. Veggie, are you going to throw this? No. Okay. I question whether, I think people try to fold here unless, like, Ronald has to make a decision if he's going to fold. Oh, no, it doesn't. Sorry, I mixed up with his 3-man. Damn 10-house sorting. So we still have 4 in the wall, it looks like. 1 4 and 3 7s. 2 7s, beg your pardon. He will keep hold of that. So 3 in the wall left for Cheese. People generally trying to play around and not deal into him, but I think Veggie's still trying to get that win to finish the game. Potentially come 4th. He needs 4,000 points to do it. We have still no. We still have the things going. Sorry, 4 7s, no progress there. 2 7s in the wall and 1 4. Not really going much in there. I think we have Ronald folding here now. Just, try again next hand because the dealer is Tenpai. Veggie still trying to get that push. Oh, Ronald comes alive, pawns that Yaku. Can he steal the win from Cheese? Those are 3. Doesn't want to throw that south, it seems. Easy Haku there for Trayton. We're still missing those tiles. They have not come out again recently. So we might end up in a drawn hand here and just go into the next round. Oh, no. Never mind. Ronald will throw that in there. Riichi Pinfu, 2,900 points, putting him into 1st place. We are now in South 4-3. We are still not finished here. So we have a decent starting hand for Cheese. He'd be looking at Honitsu here. The Dora is the 8-so, of which we can see none. We see an interesting hand over in Veggies with a potential Ipeiko Tanyao something. Apologies for the language there, but it's just, there's a few different ways that could go. Cheese still has to deal with all those honor tiles and that floating 9. He does chi that though, so he's making some progress there. Trayton has a pair of the Chun, as well as acceptance on the 8-so door if it comes. I believe he is Ishan 10. We have a reach from Veggie, waiting on a 5-8 wait for a Tanya Nomi. Little bold, considering Cheese is going very heavily for the Pinzu. Where are we? Trayton is deciding if he wants to push here, keeping it a little bit alive. Cheese potentially getting into Tenpai, but the Chun is in Trayton's hand, and that coming out might be unlucky. We get a pair of Haku over in things. We get a Kan from Veggie, making the 5-so that new Dora. No luck on the Rinchan, however. Cheese has to make a decision here. He throws the 7, not wanting to risk it. who he now draws the 8, which is the winning tile, and breaks it. He is now in 10 by himself for a 5-pin or a chun. The chun, as we know, is in Trayton's hand. The 5-pin, however, is also dead. It's one in Ronald and one called by Cheese already. And that pretty much confirms that Cheese will not be getting his win here unless Ronald actually deals into him. Trayton is waiting on a 5-8, so it looks like. Of which there are a decent amount in the wall. One of those is, sorry, they're both Dora. I think there's 5 in the wall, 4 in the wall. Every time I say how many is in the wall, they get caught. So I think we're heading to a draw here. Oh, never mind. Cheese deals into Trayton. That might actually knock Cheese into second place. 2-6, yes, that will. Trayton first at 4,100. Cheese at second at 35,000. Ronald in third at 12,500. And Veggie in fourth at 11,000. Okay. Now, do we have scores? I need to hear from Totoro as to whether we've got final scores and stuff. The scores have been inputted. I am not currently posting the updated scores yet. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Sorry. Totoro is currently filling in the last minute scores. We will find out what the results are shortly. Main reason I'm not updating the scores on stream yet is because, as mentioned, Totoro is sorting out the rankings first, and I want to make sure those are all correct before I actually, post anything up. Okay. Just a sec. So we actually have a number of subs playing today, apparently to fill out numbers and so on. So the results are, I'll update the scoreboard on stream first, so you can see the overall scores. Is it updated? Yep, so Lao Sabao has completely trashed this tournament as the runaway winner at 1,155 points. Rariel second, Koala third, AKTK fourth, Trayton fifth, Nosti sixth, Akarin seventh, Morovo eighth, and Echoist ninth. Champion 10th, SPT 11th, Competo, Ronald, Cheese, J-Cakes, and Veggie rounding everything out. Now, there are subs on the field, so make sure I've got the right. Yep, okay. So the way this is going to look is this. So in terms of subs, Lao Sabao, as people may have heard, Akarin and Morovo were all subs. So the 4 players who are qualifying are Rariel, Koala, AKTK, and Trayton are the 4 members of Team Australia for the IORMC in November. Nosti and Echoist will be our backups in case things go awry or any of the 4 can't make it or have issues. So yeah, that is that for the qualifiers. The main tournament, as I mentioned, is run by the Korean Mahjong League. It will be November. Make sure I've got this number right, so I don't screw this up again. It'll be November. Apologies, I'm going to. November 7th is the qualification. Team final individual tournament is on November 14th. It is run by the Korean Mahjong League. Their website is kml.or.kr. All the information can be found on their website. Um, okay. Sorry, just keeping up, making sure there's no last minute changes. So that is the current situation. Congrats to Rariel, Koala slash Totoro, AKTK, and Trayton, who again were representing Team Australia with Nosti and Echoist or Echo Round as the subs slash backups. I think that can be it for the stream. I think it's going to be an interesting tournament in November. I will do my best to try and stream it, but it will depend at the time as to whether I am able to make it. The timeline is not perfect for Australia, so we shall see how we go. Thank you all for tuning in, and thank you for putting up for this solo stream. It was definitely a bit of an adventure. I would be curious for any feedback on what people thought of the scores on the side. They were in theory auto-updated in some cases, but that also is based off of Totoro putting in the spreadsheet, or just overall layout. But yeah, just general information, PM me on Discord, or if you're in the ARMA Discord, just mention there. I will try and make sure I have a second person to help me commentate if I do manage to do the the main tournament in November. So again, thank you all for joining me, and hopefully see you in November. Thank you.